Blam blam. Welcome.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chocolatiers. It's Saturday, which means we're gonna roll some dice and play.
Or
Sunday for
Sunday.
us.
It's
Get this
Saturday. It's Saturday for
wrong.
me. It's Saturday for this corner of the world. Yeah, I think there's like a very small percentage of the world for which it's still Saturday because it's 9:30 p.m. here, and there's what, Hawaii,
Yeah, I don't know who's the
Alaska
last ones to turn over, hey.
take over. Yeah.
Think
Yeah, I
so.
don't know. Interesting.
Anyways, it's the weekend, and we're gonna roll some dice and play Dungeons and Dragons. My name is D. I am the Dungeon Master. Joining me are our lovely players. Say hello, lovely players.
Hi.
Hello.
Why don't we go and run through a quick round of introductions? Eminence, why don't you kick us off?
Hello, my name's Nicole. I play Eminence. She is a tiefling warlock who is figuring some shit out very slowly, but she'll get there.
You're
Um,
learning.
yeah, she's learning. Yeah, she's cool. My brain
Cheers.
is not working this afternoon.
True statement is cool.
Is cool.
Yes.
Uh,
And the sister to Emmy.
That's me. Hi, I am Maleficent. I play Oriana, who is Eminence's older, grumpier sister. I'm not sure she is cool, but she certainly looks cool. That's
She tries to be.
possibly just because she's a tiefling, and all tieflings are cool.
Canon.
Can't be
Is
argued with.
silence cool?
No,
No.
silence is the exception that proves the rule.
There it is. And Natalie.
Hi. I play Natalie and Burrows. I play Natalie and Burrows. That's also true. Half orc barbarian. A punch. And I slash. Real good. And I bonk.
Nice.
If I need to use
You
a
bonk?
weapon, I bonk at the moment. So
Biggest bunkus. Yeah.
pretty much. Though I don't know. Actually, damage-wise, it might be more efficient for me to just punch people. We'll see.
Really?
Well, 1d6 plus whatever. Wait, hang on. Let me suss. Quarterstaff is 1d6 plus 4. Unarmed strike is a 5. Both get plus to my rage, so yeah, I guess it's a 1 though.
Bippity boppity rage.
My maths ain't quite that right, but you know, it's fine. It's more dramatic if you punch something.
Mm-hmm. Also more cinematic narratively as well.
Correct.
So you get that little personal touch. Last time we left our players, they had just discovered that they had been carrying around a portable hole in their pockets. The party had assembled all of the townsfolk at Rin's Dredge and had attempted to stay out the night with no deaths. Alexia had been scared away. She was the lone individual outside of Ridden's Dredge. And after a brief confrontation in which she approached Ridden's Dredge and a cliffhanger-esque fight, she disengaged and ran away. However, with her weird, funky dagger, she did manage to get another slash, this time onto Eminence, who lost use of one of her arms, and Natalie still suffering the complete disconnect of her other arm. So that's 2 players with 2 arms down. 1 to go.
Hey.
While the party was trying to wait out the night, they spent some time decoding the old messages that they had picked up not only from the apparent study deep underground in the hot springs, but also seemingly a letter that Aery or Aurelian wrote to himself. And after a bit of research into some of those topics and some conversations and a good amount of disagreement and arguing, the party set out the portable hole on the ground to investigate what it was and found within a apparently a pocket dimension, a tiny little study, maybe 10 foot by 10 foot across, circular walls, mahogany bookcases, rich, beautiful desk, plush leather chair, crackling magical fireplace. And in the center of this room, a pedestal on which something was not there. And that is where we left off with our players, as I believe it was Eminence and Oriana started stepping down the brass staircase into the room proper. And your uh, boots and hooves clatter loudly against that sort of brass staircase in the way that only it can. You can hear the crackling and feel the warmth of the fireplace. Magical though it is, you see no smoke, you see no chimney. It's sort of just in this little recess in the wall. You smell the old leather spines of the books and sort of the deep, rich flavor of the wood floor in the bottom of the room. But your feet come to rest upon the wood and carpeted floor at the bottom of the staircase. 10 feet above you, Natalie stands guard, watching down the hallway. If I remember right, y'all ran into a room, correct? You're not out in the hallway anymore.
So we said that we wanted to, because we were going to watch to see if Alexia came in. So in order for me to keep
Yes.
watch of everyone else, we would have had to have done it in like a fairly open space.
Okay. So if you want to do that, there is still the hallway that led down to the administrative side of the caverns of Ridden's Dredge. You can still post up at that opening, and I believe Thrinarv was keeping an eye on the front entrance.
Yeah,
Yes.
correct.
Yes, so that leaves you watching the administrative entrance or exit. And nobody is currently watching the residential wing, but as far as you know, that is a dead end. There doesn't appear to be any other entrance or exit to that side of the caverns.
Yeah, as far as we know.
So, what would you like to do?
Well, as we are walking down those stairs, I imagine that we are looking around that entire space for any sign of like a person being in it.
Yeah.
For starters.
Absolutely.
Of life.
Oh yeah, make a perception check for me.
Whew. I think my perception is a -1. That is a 3.
3.
I did slightly better. I've just realized that I don't have my character sheet open, but mine is a flat 7, and I think mine is +3? Let's have a look. Or it could be less. I'm pretty sure Oriana is not very perceivy. We are
Oriana,
loading
perception
perception
plus
+3.
3. Yes. So a 3 and a 10. Um, y'all have seen some pretty wacky stuff over the past couple of weeks and months of traveling together, and even the past year, all the way up north in Andapolis. But it just seems like a room. It seems like a study. Um, there aren't a lot of places to hide or disguise oneself in this room. You don't see anything that would immediately jump out to you and say there is someone here. If anything, there seems to be almost like an air of disuse about the place.
I personally don't know much about pocket dimensions. Would Oriana know whether or not you can survive for one for like extended amounts of time? If you like bring food and shit, would it be possible, or is it just like it's a temporary kind of?
Yeah. Why don't you make an Arcana check for me?
Okay, hopefully this is better than 7. As a nat 20 plus
Okay,
1
yeah.
because I'm a
Yeah,
bad cleric.
you remember that phase where dear old dad did a whole bunch of explorations into pocket dimensions. Specifically, he was looking for ways to imprison people in his own little pocket dimension that he could just have, so that instead of needing to go down to the Gowl at the bottom of the Citadel, he would just be able to snap his fingers and be able to call forth whoever he needed whenever he needed. Um, you know that his initial study was he did a couple of academic tests on living creatures with food and water. If they have food, they can survive until they run out of food. If they have water, they can survive until they run out of food and water. Uh, However, it also depends on the size of the space, because most living creatures also need to breathe, and pocket dimensions are entirely closed bubbles when they are closed. You remember multiple times him putting people inside of tiny little pocket prisons and then opening them up in his study just to find a lifeless corpse asphyxiated on the ground in front of him, which to you was hilarious, to him was infuriating. Um,
Oops, totally forgot I put that guy in there a month ago.
yeah, exactly. That sort of thing. It's only been 1 month, you weak mortals. Um, yes, you also know that most pocket dimensions, when they are designed and when they are created in such a way that someone inside of them can pretty easily force their way. They are not designed to hold people, living creatures, long term. It is possible to, for example, rig the inside of it so that it has like an iron jail cell, so that they cannot get to the edges of the pocket dimension and therefore try to force their way through. But that's just more work and effort, and much like many of your other father's projects, it ended up falling to the wayside.
It's fairly unlikely that there is somebody in here with us, but we will still keep an eye out.
Yes.
Mm.
I guess we
Yeah.
continue down the stairs then.
Yeah, and as we're continuing down the stairs, I'm gonna switch my focus to trying to figure out like whether this place. I know you said it has signs of disuse, and there was
Mhm.
like dust in a circle around the thing that is missing from the pedestal. But
Yeah.
does it feel like, yeah, the entire place has been abandoned for a long time? Are there any other signs of a person being in here recently? Anything else that might be like, more freshly touched or used?
Yeah. So there isn't like it's not like there's dust in the air because there's no airflow. It's been a closed, like hermetically sealed room. Um, it's more of that sort of thing where I don't know if you've ever been like out hiking or something and you find like an old abandoned cabin or like an old storage shed or something. Um, and you walk inside and it's obvious not only from like the decay that the place isn't lived in, but even if you close your eyes, there's just that sense in the air of like this place has not seen use in a very, very long time.
Mm.
It just has that stillness to it. Um, yeah.
Okay.
How far down were the stairs? Like, how long would we be
10 feet.
going for? 10 feet? That's not that bad.
It's 10 by 10 by 10. Yeah.
Okay. Um, so I guess next thing we do, we get to the bottom of the stairs and look for anything, I guess, written in that code that we
Yeah,
have people
absolutely.
decoding upstairs.
Yeah. So there are a whole bunch of, obviously the walls are lined with bookcases. You see a whole bunch of different titles across the bookcases. On the desk, you see there are a couple of stacks of journals. And these all seem to be like from the same brand of moleskin. Um, and you get the sense that if you were trying to find something, it would be in that direction. There are a bunch of books along the walls as well, but those have like different titles and from different authors. They appear to be covering a broad range of topics.
You can take things out of here, right? If you can put things in here, you can take things out of here. I'm gonna just grab a couple. If they're in that code, I can't decide what they're about. Um, but just grab a few. We can always go back in there, I suppose.
Mhm.
Mm.
If they have actually, if I'm going to try and not just grab one of everything, do they have any like pictures in them that I could possibly decipher? I obviously don't speak the
The
language.
the journals or the books on the walls?
Oh, the journals more specifically.
Yeah. So as you walk over and approach, they're kind of like stacked up to one side, and they're the big. I want to say 8.5 by 11, but I know that's American inches. A4, A4 size pages. They're the big like A4 size, and it's got the like soft leather on the top. As you kind of flip one open, you see that it is written in that same code, but this appears to be like a slightly less clean style of the handwriting. This isn't something that was written for someone else or for deliberate scientific use. This was just a logging of something, personal
Okay.
notation.
Yeah, yeah, I'll just grab a few.
Can't hurt.
Awesome.
If they
You
mean nothing, they mean nothing.
While she's doing that, I'd like to have a closer look at this pedestal.
okay?
What's going on with that?
Just um yeah, so in the center of the room, you see sort of like probably about 4 foot tall white marble pedestal. And it is placed, it does have like separate legs. It's not like part of the ground itself. Um, and it sort of has this Greco-Roman style building up to the top where it kind of flowers into a flat surface. And it's very like Beauty and the Beast rose container esque. So
Hmm.
it's got like the flat base, and then on the top it has the glass, like view case with the little bulb on top for picking up. On the inside, you can see even in like the marble, the imprint of something that was there, as if it has been there for a very, 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 very long time. However, it is not currently there.
Okay. And
Um,
the shape of that imprint is
um, it's not clean. It's somewhat like an oval. It's tough to make out just from the imprint. Why don't you go ahead, make an intelligence check for me?
okay.
Intelligence or investigation?
It's better. Yeah, both are +2, so that is 13.
13. Yeah, you reckon it would probably be like softball sized?
So not like
Um,
dagger sized, is what you're
no, no,
saying. Okay.
not quite dagger sized.
Gem sized.
Like a fat gem. But
Like
yeah,
about the size of one of the gems we found, like the one in Ori's room.
no, the one you found in Ori's room is much smaller. It's like,
Okay.
yeah. but that thought of like gem sized, it could be gem sized.
Intriguing.
Other than books and things that aren't actually there, is there anything does anything stand out as magical, spooky, anything like that? How many? I should have detect magics left. Yeah, I've got heaps of spell slots. I'm going to detect magic. Since I know we have some time, I'm going to ritual cast it so it doesn't take up a spell slot. So that will take me
Yeah.
10 minutes ish.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. You do actually 1 second. Wait, yeah. Always good when I need to get up and grab a book. Let's see.
I feel like it is good when you have to pick up a book because that means I've thought of something that you've already thought of.
Mm-hmm. Or an approach that he hasn't thought of that is also like
Mm,
something relevant that they're not just going to be like bullshit because it doesn't matter.
yeah.
1, 2, 3. 4. Let's see what we got. Five, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, probably around 16 or so different books along the wall jump out to you as magical.
Interesting. Are any of those written in a language that I can understand? Or is basically everything in here in that code?
No, the books on the wall are like they're written in a number of different languages. You recognize Common, you see Elven, you see Draconic, you see um uh what is it, Abyssal? Um sorry, Infernal. You
Yeah.
you see a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, yes. You do see one book in Infernal that says catalog. Um
Oh, that
it is
I mean, if
non-magical,
it's but if it's cataloging like contents or things, like we might be able to find what was on the pedestal.
Hmm, that's a thought.
Yeah, while Ori's distracted with the detecting magic, I'm presuming I would notice that book at some stage. Can I grab the book
yeah,
marked catalog?
absolutely. You pop it out pretty easily. Um Flipping open through a few pages, each page appears to be a depiction of a devil. And at the top, there is a different name for each of these devils. And some of them, as you flip through, are small, like imps, but then some of them rise up through the hierarchy until the end. There are two at the back that are pit fiends. Um, as you kind of flip through the book, it has descriptions, it has traits, it has properties. But at the bottom of each page, you see a second name. And this is a name that is not written in Infernal, but it uses the Infernal characters. This is the name that you recognize to be a devil's true name. Um, you know that if you know a devil's true name and speak its true name, you have complete power and ownership over that devil. Um, you know that most devil lords of the different lords of hell, um, they get a lot of their power through not only just manipulation and economics and just brute power, um, but they have their own internal ledgers of names of some of the devils below them. And that allows them to have more direct control over their subordinates. You know that if you were to find the true name of a devil lord, you would effectively own that devil lord. You would be able to do whatever you wanted with that. So the fact that you have two true
Christ.
names for pit fiends among others is insane in and of itself.
Right. Um, can I especially the devils towards the back of the book that are more up the hierarchy? Would
Yeah.
I recognize any of them?
Ooh, that is a good question. Make a history check for me. So it doesn't have like their common names by you know them or the way that they would like present themselves. This is like descriptions of the true essence of these devils.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. Can I make the argument that this could be a religion check?
um, you're checking against devils that you know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you clicked religion.
No, I just have a way better religion. It's a 12 on a history check.
12 on history. Let me see. So with a 12, the odds are going to be low, but I'll roll for it for you. Wow, you did well. Where where are my notes? Am I even flipping through the right notebook? You do see one devil that you recognize. It's in this notebook because of course it is. You see uh, you see Ubalnu, who was one of the bodyguards of Meph.
Was, as in, is currently
Still is.
unaccounted for.
He still is. Now I can't find my pen. Oh my god, it's all going downhill.
Right. I feel like that is shocking enough discovery that I would show Ori and be like, look at this. What the fuck? It says catalog.
You know that most mortals, if they would find like one name, would basically be set for life. Just off of what they could make the devil do for them. The fact that this
Yeah.
is a book that starts off at like the lowest level of like Lemire's, but goes all the way up the hierarchy is crazy.
Mm.
I feel like we should throw this in the fire.
Well, yes. This is. I mean, this could destroy Dad's entire. I mean, and I'll point out like Ubalnu and like the fact that he's a bodyguard. Like, someone could have some serious insider information and power with these names.
You
Oh,
know,
fuck.
at least tear out the bodyguard who I have not seen that name written down and I don't have a brain. Ubamu? I fucked that up.
Obama?
Ubalnu. Yes, Obama.
Ubamu. I didn't say Obama. Did I say Obama?
No.
You didn't.
Ubalnu.
Definitely removing that one, at least, from the catalog.
We
As
should.
you tear the page, the book lets out this awful scream of pain. It seems to just like emanate out from the spine.
But this wasn't a magic book.
No.
Why is it screaming? It's screaming. Hmm.
I'm gonna
Hmm.
shout, we're okay, because I'm presuming that with the portal open, like Natalie heard that.
Yeah, it was 10 feet below you. You absolutely heard it. It probably echoed like all the way out through into the hallway, into the main room of Ridden's Dredge as well. And people are looking over like, something happened down there?
Nah, so good. Because it didn't sound like it was a scream from either of them, I'm not fussed.
Okay.
This is possibly a weird question, but would I have known this devil well enough to recognize his scream? Would I think like that I maybe somehow this is linked and it's damaging him, or would I be like, no, this is a book?
So you know that Mephistopheles is paranoid as fuck. One of the requirements to being a bodyguard of Mephistopheles is having your tongue cauterized out of your mouth, so that you can never speak a word of ill intent against him.
You can still scream.
Does it sound like a tongueless scream, or does it sound like a scream like a?
No, it does not sound like Ubalnu.
Okay, in which case I would have continued to rip the name out of the book.
Yeah.
If it had been like a scream that I had recognized, I would have been like, "Hey, not sure about that. Dad probably not going to be happy with like his bodyguard dropping dead. But if it's definitely not him, I will continue to rip the name out of the book."
You would also know that because so true names are weird, unique things. They can only exist in one place at a time. So you know that because you have this book of true names, no one else has the true names of these devils. So that means you have the name of one of Dad's bodyguards, but he does not.
I mean, before we destroy this thing entirely, maybe we should take it back to Dad. He might want to know. He could figure out who made it, or
It's a thought. I will pocket it instead of throwing it into the fireplace. uh, just because Eminence and Oriana might not know everybody exactly the same. Is there any names in the catalog that Oriana recognizes that Eminence did not? Or would it just have been that one? Just to
Make
check.
a history check.
Okay. What is my history? My history is, not too bad. 14 plus 5, so 19.
19.
Could have been better, could have been much, much worse.
With a 19, you don't see any names that are familiar to. You don't see any names that are familiar to you of devils under the employ of your father. You do recognize one more name, and that was the name of a barbed devil. Yeah, this barbed devil was called Arwia. You know that barbed devils typically act as like house guards.
Mm.
They are often very easily employed by higher level devils and demons to protect places and their vaults. They are brutal, they are absolute jerks, and they love lording their power and employ over other people. Um, the worst kind of person to be like a town guard. And of course, these are the ones that are regularly employed. Um, yes, and Aria, you probably recognized. He was assigned to basically act as one of your guards when the two of you were traveling through the realms, learning from your teacher.
Maybe we should just take this whole thing.
I think it's better in our possession than anyone else's at the moment. We can't just leave it here.
Absolutely not. Uh,
Who, I mean, but if someone had this kind of power, why don't we know about them? Like, they could have overthrown an entire level of hell, and they've done what, this? A little office in a pocket dimension in a hot spring town.
maybe that's the plan for later with the underground monster thing, perhaps.
Whatever it is, I don't like it.
No. Uh,
So you get the sense that while this book probably wouldn't be enough to like overthrow a whole level of hell, this book could pretty easily make a new nation of considerable size. Um, Someone with the right know-how and uh, sort of political savvy with this book could do a lot
Mm.
or end a nation. I mean, beggars and choosers.
um, the how many you say? 10? 10 books? If I just grab them, put them out all on the
Magical
desk. Yeah, the magical ones.
16.
16. 16 magic books. I'm just gonna grab them all off the shelf.
Sure.
Um, before like the detect magic ding ding fades, so that I have all of them out.
Mhm.
Um, then I'll have like a little bit of a look through them.
You see that 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is 1, 2, 3, 4. You see that 8 of the books are magical and representative of common. Like it's that type of magical writing that is just readable to anyone. The other 8, as you look at them, appear to be spell books. However, they are written in what is very obviously that coded language that is apparently whoever the owner of this study's language is.
I know we as a party don't have a bag of holding, so whatever bag that I'm currently like carrying around is probably getting pretty full at this point. Um, but I'm gonna try and take them with me.
I mean,
And
I can
make
help.
a note to Eminence that we really probably should like invest in a bigger bag at some point.
I mean, we have come into the possession of pocket dimension. Depending on
Yes,
how this goes, might not be necessary.
I'm not certain I want to rely on the pocket dimension forever. This was somebody else's. They might want it back.
Yeah. And as we're talking about this, I'll help her pick up the books. And I guess, do we want to head back up?
Yeah, it was just magical books. There was no magical artifacts or anything down here. Just booky books before we go.
No magical items stood out to you outside of the books.
Yeah. If there's nothing else that Eminence has wanted to look at or has spotted while I was magicking around. Yeah, we just pile the books up, climb the stairs. Natalie's strong. She can carry the bag now that it's full of many, many books.
It is a large tome. You remember when, I don't know if y'all ever did this when you were kids, but when you would go to school, you would have your backpack, you would take all of your books with you,
Mhm.
like a numpty, instead of
Yep.
just the ones that you needed. It's like that, but worse because it is 16 books plus 3 notebooks. It's 19 books.
I'm going to very deliberately say as we come out of the hole, we found 18 interesting books.
Can I ask you a question then?
Oh, wait. Is the catalog a notebook or is that, do we have 20 books?
Oh, you're right. That is
Whatever
the
it is.
20th book. You have 20.
Okay, whatever it is, I'm just deliberately not saying
Yeah.
anything about the catalog. We found lots of interesting stuff. Nothing about devils. Don't even think about it.
So, from what you told me, right? And I'm imagining you're saying this crawling out of the hole in the ground. We have a portable hole that is a piece of fabric. You decide to take the books out of the fabric, the thing that is teleporting them, and have us carry them instead?
At least for a little bit, I'd like to investigate them and I'd like to be able to watch what's going on up here at the same time. We can put them back in the
Yes.
hole later.
We couldn't have just done like one at a time, brought out a book, read the book, put the book
Well,
back
no,
in,
we
and
would
then
have
come back
kept
out.
disappearing out of the hole, opening a portable hole, disappearing into it, coming out. I figured it was probably better if we made a single trip rather than possibly arousing suspicion, jumping in and out of a hole that we don't want people to know we have.
Honestly, who knows how stable it is either? I mean, maybe if we keep activating it,
I wouldn't trust that
I don't
this
know how
place
these
is
things
particularly
work.
stable, that we're not going to lose it. But I live your life, live your dreams. If those dreams are to read a lot of books, I wish you well on that endeavor.
Is Natalie just bitter that they're books?
And none of them have pictures in it because I already checked.
Yeah, no, none of them are even written in Orcish. They're all in Infernal and other stuff you can't read. If she can't read Common, she absolutely can't read Infernal.
I guess.
Recognize some letters from Dwarvish, but that's it.
I guess we're gonna fold up our pocket dimension and go back into the mess hall and set ourselves up in a corner where we can observe everything and also flip through some books.
Yeah. I also think it would be a good idea to set up is it Area, the lady? Yeah, with some of the magical books in the Cody language.
Yeah, if they're done with the second letter, because I don't think they were when we disappeared. Do we know what that says yet?
Yeah, we
We-
got the second letter.
Oh, we got the whole second letter? I thought we got parts of it. I thought they weren't
Uh,
done.
the main meatballs of it,
Right, okay.
the good bits, the important bits.
I don't suppose the spell books have like a vibe to them so that we can pick which of the 8 to give her first, or we're just gonna I can roll a D8 and just pick one, I suppose.
Well, I was
But,
going to
like
suggest picking the one that looks the most worn.
That's a thought.
So
If there is one.
they do actually have a vibe to them, but you have a hard time you can tell that the contents of the book follow a similar theme. What that theme is, you can't tell without a little bit of translation. Yeah.
I mean, we could give her all 8 and just say, like, translate the first page or so and go with the one that you think seems the most promising or interesting.
Her daughter was helping her out, wasn't she?
Yes.
Would
Yeah,
she
and
be good enough at this to kind of we could give her a separate book, or are they still gonna have to work together? Can we split it?
Yeah, I reckon. Um, she spent a good amount of time today decoding books, so I think she's engine's hot, ready to go.
Yeah.
And we did tell Yana that we're in a time loop, so we can give them the books and be like, anything jumps out to you as like time loop adjacent, focus on that one.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea. So
We are
give them
gonna
each
have to be sorry, we're gonna have to be very careful though to grab those books when it starts to get towards
yes, because we don't want them to disappear.
yeah.
How much time do we have left, approximately, at this point?
It is well after dark at this point. I would say you've got about 3 hours.
Okay, so we'll split those into 2 piles of 4, give them to each of them, ask them to translate the first page-ish until they get kind of an idea of what's going on, trying to focus on anything time related. Um, maybe does Emmy want to sit closer to them, and I'll try and sit somewhere with some of the books that are in common so that we can kind of still be watching all the entrances to a less effective degree than if I was just like standing guard at the door, but we still don't want any murderers coming in doing some murdering and ruining our plan that involves no one dying.
Yeah.
And Natalie gets to be the guard again because I haven't taught her how to read yet. You've had like 1 or 2 lessons. Probably recognize a couple of letters, but
I feel like she would have picked up like a few letters along her time, but it's just
yeah.
that
Probably can't read books about magic. They've got
yeah,
stupid little
academic
words like
books and stuff,
transfiguration.
like even if she could read it phonetically, I don't think that it would make a lot of sense.
Our next mission will have no words in it.
It's like
No
trying
book,
to
written word.
read like academic papers, just like why the fuck is this filled with so much academic jargon? Just like get to your
Uh-huh.
point.
Yes.
Awesome. What's the plan?
Find for Oriana at least a point where she can sit with some of the books that were in common. And also try and watch a door or 2.
Okay.
Is there
Yeah,
anyone in
Emmy
the
will
room that we can like
basically do the same.
half observe everything? Like obviously the full concentration isn't going to be able to be on guarding or reading the book, but
Sure. So I would say you can try to post up like that, but that would be your perception check with disadvantage.
yeah,
What
I
if
expected this.
we've got Natalie who can take one door, Threnav is on one door.
Yeah.
We just each sit like by the same door. So there's both of us guarding the one, even though we're distracted.
Ah, I think that makes sense.
And then we can also bounce ideas back and forth if we find anything interesting in the books.
Yep. So we'd leave Threnav on the front door, Natalie on the entrance to the
Admin.
admin,
Mhm.
and then we'd stick ourselves near the entrance to the rest of the patient rooms and stuff.
Awesome. So then let's go ahead and get those perception checks with disadvantage for the two of you. Natalie, if you'd like, you can make another with a flat roll because you're not doing anything else.
I rolled a 12 and then I rolled a nat 20, and I wish I could have that.
Oh,
I
Still
rolled a
better than
9 and
me.
then a 19, so I...
Oh my god.
distracted
Still
by
roll
books.
better than me. And I had
I
the flat
was-
roll.
So my perception is +3, so it's 15 in total. Wait, no, I said 12. No, wait, that is right. I
Yep.
know maths.
Minus an
Great.
8.
And Natalie?
Oh, I have 10.
10. Gotcha.
I thought yours was positive for some
Um,
reason. Eminence.
Awesome. So, y'all sit down with your books, trying to watch a dead end hallway. Natalie, you continue to stand guard, knowing you've got just a few hours left until the reset. You've set up area and Yana with the 4 books. What about the 3 journals on the desk? Do you do anything with those?
Oh, fuck, I forgot about them.
Were they also written in the coded language?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I think... the problem is, though, would we give them to strangers knowing that they could reference the demonic stuff?
Probably not at this point. I think if we have the time after they've gone through, told us what those original 8 books are about, maybe we can pass those ones on. But it's probably not the best idea since we have literally no idea what's going on inside them. Give them
Yeah.
the notebooks straight out.
Yeah, exactly.
To be clear, the catalog was 1 book out of a 10 by 10 room covered in bookcases. It was one of a couple hundred, if not thousand. You also know that the infernal section was pretty small. It's not a super popular language outside of hell.
Beth.
So, yes. You load them up with the 8 books. You sit down with your own 8 books. So you find, as you go through them, you find a book. The first one that you open. Actually, fuck it. Let's roll for it. Give me a D8. One of you two, give me a D8, and the other one of you two, give me another D8.
1.
1. Great.
I'm trying to use D&D Beyond, and it's not cooperating. Hang on. 2.
Great. The first 2 books. You find a book that appears to be like a manual. It has health and diet tips.
Cool.
Not interested in that at all.
It's
It is magical. Yeah.
Which of us is looking at that book?
Number 1. Whoever rolled 1.
Yeah, that was me. Does it look how do I put this thought process together? Do the tips seem like magical diet and health tips? Or does the book just look like it's health and diet tips, and maybe the book is like magically hiding something behind that text? I'm really sorry if you can hear Leon making coffee in the background.
Oh.
It's very loud in my ears.
It's pretty clear. You're pretty clear, I should say. It just appears to be like a bunch of health and diet tips, and as far as you can tell, its words are like charged with magic. There is a magic to it. It's just
Right.
looking at it. It as you skim through a couple of lines and a couple of pages, you feel the slightest compulsion to continue reading. Because it is like it is good stuff. It is like how to improve your posture, um, how to sleep more comfortably without a pillow, just random things like that.
I imagine at some point I glance up and Ori just goes like this for no reason. Because it's impossible to hear
Sure.
posture without
Mhm. Drink some water.
Zach
She
Um,
looks
just
at
did it.
Duck pouring water over himself, like, actually, maybe not.
there's a section that's like how to breathe from your stomach instead of from your chest. Yeah, it is compelling. It's good stuff. Like as you like sit with better posture, as you like breathe more deeply, you feel a little bit better. But as far as like immediate effects, nothing magical appears to have happened.
Ooh. If it's not like, a hard compulsion to break, I wouldn't wanna spend too much time on it knowing that we don't have very many hours left. Um,
Yeah, it's like when you end up in a BuzzFeed hole, that kind of
yep,
compulsion. Yeah. So it's like interesting, but
understandable.
you can put it down.
Yep. Okay, cool. I'd like to switch to another book.
Sweet.
Um,
The person who rolled number two, you can roll me a d6, please. The person who rolled number two, that was
oh,
Emmy. This book describes fitness exercises, and it is of a similar vein and style as the other book. Um,
Huh. Yeah, I think I'm going to go through a very similar process to Oriana, where my first thought is like, ugh, they're about to put it down and think, wait a second, this detected as magic. Um, I don't think I don't think I have any like spells or any particular insight or anything that could help me with this. I just, yeah, it's. Does anything seem weird about the magic of this book?
just like reading through a few pages, you can't feel anything inherently magical.
Ugh. Yeah, I'm not going to spend much time on it. Move on to the next one.
Okay. So, Ori, what was your d6 roll?
a 6, a 1, and a 6.
6.
The highest and the lowest I could have done on both these dice.
Okay, number 6. This book contains intuition and insight exercises, and its words are charged with magic.
Look, I don't care about too much about the diet and exercise, but this one I may keep for later on.
Yeah, I need that.
It
This is
has
more
like a bunch
interesting.
of
We'll have a
those.
flip through.
Yeah. It's like, oh gosh, did you ever do those like train your brain?
Yeah, I had an app for
Um,
it for a while. I
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
feel trained.
it's got a whole bunch of stuff like that, and it's about like intuition and understanding of other people, and sort of like this uh almost like insight into things just below the surface level, talking about like posture, like viewing the posture of other people, um their sort of hand motions, hand up, palm up, palm down, that sort of thing. Yeah, stuff like that.
That was definitely something I'll keep for later, but probably not useful for right now.
Yes. Eminence, go ahead and roll a d6, and if you get a 6, roll again, because that one
Mhm.
was already rolled.
5.
5.
It's just like
Okay.
working our way in.
Yeah, yeah,
Very
yeah.
in sync tonight.
This thick leather-bound volume has a desiccated tongue nailed to the front cover.
I
Uh,
Yeah, look, fair enough, but like, probably would have grabbed that one first. Anyway.
it's kind of like flat and almost like dry and leathery. Um, but the first few pages of the tome is filled with indecipherable scrawls, and the remaining pages are blank and pristine. And the scrawls on the pages that are there, it's about 10 or so pages. They are not like a code. They are like rambling, insane, all over the place scrawls.
Ugh. Um, Again, I don't really have like a particular spell or skill for this, but like, I know that this detected as magical. Does
Mhm.
this book have real bad vibes? Like, when I read it, do I feel icky?
Make what would that be? Make an Arcana, History, or Religion check.
Oh, yeah, religion. That is a 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Wow. Um, this book is bad vibes. Um, it has firstly it has a tongue nailed to the front of it. Secondly, it has like 10 pages of just whatever the fuck this is, and then the rest of it is completely pristinely blank and empty.
Like, strangely pristine. I'm trying to think of how to put this. Is it as if it's just a journal that someone stopped writing in, or is it more like the book is all damaged and weathered, and then there's nothing? Like, it is strange how pristine the rest of the book is.
The outside of the book is a little bit worn, as if it has been used or carried before. Um, the first 10 pages are like used. There are crinkles. There are obviously all of those marks on them. But then the next like rest of the book is like fresh out of the printing press, crisp white pages.
Okay, and is the tongue humanoid?
It's a tongue. It appears to be humanoid, as far as you can tell.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna like hold up this book to Ori and just be like, okay, this one is this is weird, and I'll hand it over to her, open to where the writing stops. Um, I don't know how you do the thing you do, but can you tell if this is actually unused, or is this like magically concealed? Something about this feels very wrong.
I feel like this has been more than 10 minutes, so my detect magic would be down by now if we've been reading for a while.
Yes.
Um, I will cast it again, but not as a ritual this time, so that we don't have to wait. Um, is the magic on the whole book or just on like the scribbles? Do the pages that are blank feel like
The whole
are they
book,
magical? The whole it's just the book,
even the
not the
blank
word.
pages, the book itself is emanating an aura of magic.
Mm. Can you tell the type of magic without? Is that something you can only do with ritual casting?
Nope, nope. I should be able to see the aura and learn its school of magic if it has one.
Uh, Goodness, I don't know how to describe this thing's school of magic. Um, it does not have a school of magic.
The bad vibe school of magic.
Yeah, school of
Yeah.
bad vibes.
Yeah, the whole book magic. Not really any specific kind. The tongue is Certainly interesting. Does that look like it was added later, or they bought a book with a tongue on it?
It's impossible to tell. It's impossible to say.
Dang.
Would
If
you
it
know
came
if
out of the printing press like this,
would you know if it's unusual for something you not to know the type of magic it detects as? Like, is that kind of a unique
um,
thing?
yeah. So like most active spells have a specific school of magic, but then magical items are magical, but don't necessarily have a school of magic. Like a magical sword, it can be a magical sword of enchanting. It can also just be like a magically enchanted sword that does not have an enchanting property.
Right.
Um, yeah, magical items they kind of get all wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, magicy wagicky.
Fair enough.
Magicy wagicky.
Maggy waggy.
Yeah.
um, I think maybe we don't tell the others about this one either.
I agree. I just started getting lost in Mel thoughts for a second there. Um, the scrolls, even though they're indecipherable, are they like a twisted language that we already know? Are they just like doctor's handwriting, or are they like which technically you should be able to read, but it's really messy, or they're just nonsense?
The scrawls
Yeah.
on they are nonsense. Like
Okay.
the more you try to put effort into understanding it, the more like frustrated you begin to get because there is no like anchor for you to grab on. There is nothing that vaguely even looks like a language.
I think this is a kind of gross mystery for another time. I have no idea what this says.
I agree.
Gross. Uh, next book, I suppose, for both of us. I hate that this is the one that's like the most interesting, and it's just like, we don't have the time right now.
Yeah, it'd be
Just,
really great if y'all had like some kind of identify spell or something. That would, mm,
I
so
don't
choice.
today. Do I? Do I actually have identify? No, I don't think I do.
I'm sure I don't,
Does
unless I'm
Aery?
like a.
Can I even have identify? I don't even see it on my spell list. I feel like I should, but I don't.
Also, is D&D Beyond being super laggy and slow for everyone else? Or is my
I
internet
don't
just
have it
bad?
open.
I've had a couple of websites, not just D&D Beyond, give me a lot of trouble. I think it's like a web hosting problem.
Hmm.
Aery
Yes.
does not have identify.
Very
Yeah,
sadly,
I've got
neither do I.
nothing.
I don't even see it on my spell list as something that I could decide to use later. I mean, later on, I can find out if it's evil or good, but also,
What are the
I
odds that book
I
is good?
think I think I know non-magically that the creepy book with the tongue nailed to the front probably not a good thing. Probably leading evil, if anything.
Who'd have thunk?
I mean, we can always hold on to it and
Yeah.
like try to get some help with it on our next jaunt down to hell.
I think that's a good
I'm
idea.
sure Dad's got a librarian or something we can hit up.
I like that we're planning a trip home when last time we went there, Natalie was like,
Literally never again.
I
never.
don't know. I feel like a lot of shit has come up in the last few sessions that are starting to make Emmy a bit homesick. Like seeing all the demons and stuff. She's just like, oh, it's just nice to see horns again, you know? It's like when you get on a plane home and like you get on a Qantas flight and you suddenly like hear your own accent again for the first time in ages, and you're just like, oh.
When I was living in China, I stayed in China for I think the longest period that I like was in China consistently was like 8 months continuously. Um, and then I flew back to Los Angeles, and I remember getting off of the plane in LA airport, and people were speaking English around me, and I was like, "What the fuck? This is weird." Girl was like, "Oh my gosh, my legs are so sore," and I was like, "Why are you speaking English? Get away from me!" God.
It's such a nice feeling though, where you're just like, oh my god, I can understand the people around me. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I will say there was a serene sort of beauty to being the only person who spoke English walking through the street in a crowd of hundreds of people, everybody talking and being completely alone, like not understanding a single word surrounded by people and just totally vibing by yourself. There was a strange beauty to that.
it sounds kind of lovely, actually.
It's I don't even know how to describe it. It's like the most supreme version of white noise. Like you're surrounded by
Yeah.
people, but completely alone.
It's like you're wearing noise canceling headphones all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyways, Dungeons and Dragons.
D&D. Next books?
Is there just. Oh no, there's 4 and
Four
3
left.
left, so we'll grab one each.
Give me a D4.
No, there's 4 books left.
There's 4 books left?
Because we
Oh,
have
okay,
8
yeah.
books and we've looked at 4.
Oh, I
Four
can
books.
math.
3. 2.
3, 2. Okay. Awesome. So, number 3. This book contains memory and logic exercises, and its words are charged with magic.
Look, I think after the tongue book, I'm just gonna not even really get into that at all.
Hold
Just
that
like
one
a
down.
yeah.
Sorry, it was 3 and 2, was it? Yes. So 2. This book contains coordination and balance exercises, and its words are charged with magic.
Um, I'm gonna guess that throughout this whole exercise, we've sort of communicated to each other like, oh, this is another, this one's just exercises. Here's just brain training, like blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Um, do these seem suspiciously benign to you as well?
I did think about that, but I rolled a check. Or I thought about it, I suppose. In character it would be like, no, I thought about this for a little while. They're just meant to keep you reading, I think.
They appear to be part of a set.
Yeah.
They do appear to be related to each other.
Oh, do you think they're just magically designed to help you stay focused?
Yeah. That's basically what I'm getting from them.
That's actually quite helpful. I mean, not for us, but like cool
Not
set of
particularly
books.
helpful for today. But yeah, I understand the appeal, I suppose.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna plop that book down and pick up the last one. Well, one
So
of
there
the
are
2 last ones.
Yep, there are 2. One of the last ones. This book contains guidelines for influencing and charming others, and its words are charged with magic. And that is the last book of the set, making 6 of those in total. Then you've got the book with the tongue, and then you lastly have This tome contains information and incantations necessary to make a type of golem.
Hmm.
So go ahead and roll a d20 for me.
Okay. Why am I rolling so bad? It's a 2.
2. The outside of the book has sort of like this reddish brown color. And on the front, you see what looks like almost like an artistic representation of a face with the mouth kind of wide open, sort of pressed in. Not like scary or anything, but just this strange face. The pages are bound together with this thick, heavy twine. And as you sort of touch the front and back binding pages of the book, it almost feels like clay, like solid clay.
That's a little unpleasant. Um, could be useful though. I might just kind of hold up the Golem book to Ori and just be like, "Should we keep this?"
Would that have anything magically pingy on it right now? Like a school of magic?
Um,
I am
believe
also
it
going to
would
reply,
be.
yes, we'll keep that one and put the other ones in a pile of, we're just going to throw that back in the magic hole.
Yes, it would be summoning slash conjuration.
That makes sense.
Yes. Summoning slash conjuration.
Do you have any way of knowing like how recently something is it like the magic detection would fade over time if what I want to know is do we need to be on the lookout for a golem?
um, so it is a manual on how to make a golem. Um, you get the sense that it's like an IKEA recipe book. Like as long as you follow the instructions with the correct materials, you too can have a golem,
Mm,
sort of thing.
right.
Um,
The fact that it's like detecting of a conjuration sort of magic, would it be detecting super strongly if someone had just used it to make one?
um, you don't know.
Mm.
I think we should keep in the back of our minds that maybe there might be a golem somewhere.
Hmm.
Unlikely, probably, but keep an
I
eye out
feel
for
like
that
we,
as well as other shit.
yeah, would probably have run into one if one existed here, but yeah.
I guess that's all our books. Guess we go check up on our code breakers, see how they're
Yes.
doing.
Can both of you roll a d4 for me?
3.
Also 3.
Awesome. They have finished 6 of the books so far, just going through like the first 2 or 3 pages. As you approach, Yana explains they are spell books. They are catalogs of spells corresponding to different schools of magic.
Hmm.
Do any of them that they've looked at so far seem to correspond with what would time magic? What category would that fall under in D&D?
Chronomancy.
Oh, that's like the single. I wrote 3 lines of notes yesterday, and chronomancy is one of the words that I wrote down, and I still forgot. Do any of them deal with chronomancy that they've looked at so far?
They do not. So these books are abjuration, transmutation, conjuration, divination, enchantment, evocation, illusion, and necromancy. You'll notice that I said 8 of the books. So far, 6 of the books have corresponded to 6 of the schools of magic, and there are 8 books, and you know that there are 8 schools of magic. So you can kind of put 2 and 2 together.
Hmm. I might kind of pick up the transmutation one. Like, we don't need this right now, but kind of gesture at Duck in the corner somewhere. Like, we should probably hold on to this in case we get a chance.
Hmm.
Right, I've got to dispel him before the end of the night.
Not the end of the night necessarily, but maybe hopefully before we leave here forever.
Well, no, I'd like to do it before the end of tonight, hoping that, while I have some spell slots so that I don't have to use them tomorrow.
True.
And then tomorrow we'll find out if their time loopy thing is enough to remember without him dying that duck equals duck. Or
True.
if any of that, like any change, gets forgotten and kind of glossed over in the general memory of the population of this fucking time loop. That's if it works.
Oh yeah.
Do you have them continue to translate the final 2 books?
I mean, it seems to have not taken them an awfully long time. It's probably best to make sure that.
They kind of rush through the last 2. Like, okay, so far these have been the 6 schools of magic. We know what the last 2 are. I'm gonna look for these words. You look for those words. Great, solved.
In the process of teaching, I'm forgetting their names. Yana, uh, how
Area.
to. Yeah, as Aria is teaching Yana how to read this code, did she write down like a cheat sheet or something so that we could maybe get the smallest fucking grasp on this later after we're out here so that we can read these books? Because we don't need to do it right now. But like,
Yeah,
we're obviously
so
not kidnapping these women and being like, you can come with us and read these books at a later date.
um, you know that Area has she had her own like personal notebook that she was taking notes in, and that's sort of like propped up on the page between them, and it has just a whole bunch of different scrawls of this particular sequence means roughly this particular sequence means this. Like, you get the sense that the reason that they were able to get through these 6 to 8 books so quickly is because they had spent the past few hours beforehand building up the knowledge and the system to decipher up to that point. You get the sense that if you were to immediately go to them like tomorrow with these books, they would take an additional few hours to relearn up to that knowledge if they didn't remember.
Yeah. But if
Yeah,
we asked for their little cheat sheet, would we possibly be able to learn? But like before I ask, hey, can I have your notebook that you write things in all the time? Um, would I get the impression from the notes that I can see like in front of me in the little notebook if that's a possibility, or I would just go, oh god, too hard, not my background.
It's not written for other people. It's like
Yeah.
their own
Okay.
personal notes. You could ask if they could write a cheat sheet for you. Like, they know they're in a time loop.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I will ask if they can write me a cheat sheet for possibly later, since I will explain like I just did. Obviously, we don't need to know what's written in these books now, but I'd very much like to later as a spellcaster.
Mhm.
Mm.
Any way you could help me out with like a little, cheat sheet?
Yeah. Um, I would say at this point, y'all have probably taken about an hour going through your books, so you've got about 2 hours left. Um, if they did all 2 hours working on a cheat sheet, you could decipher most of anything put in front of you. There are still going to be like edge cases, and weird interpretations, but it would give you the meat and potatoes for the language. Um, Alternatively, you could have them split and continue translating to give you more information now, so that you wouldn't have to wait several hours next reset.
Mm.
However, that would make it a little bit more difficult. Basically, what this cheat sheet would do is whenever you would want to translate it, you would roll an intelligence check.
Yeah.
And if you have like the complete cheat sheet, you would get a bigger bonus.
I am going to have a short discussion with Eminence to the side about whether or not we want to see if they can translate some of our notebooks or spend that time giving us a cheat book so that we can do it later and not potentially have to explain this entire time loop thing to them if they don't understand it again tomorrow because they'd still have to relearn everything. What do we think is preferable?
I think it makes a lot more sense to, in the long run, to ask them to spend the time now creating a cheat sheet for us, and then the power is in our hands. We're not relying on a little old lady and a woman with no fighting experience while someone is actively trying to kill people who remember they're in a time loop.
Yep. Yep. We'll ask them to spend 2 hours making us a cheat sheet then.
Great. They get to work on that.
While Ori is asking them to make a cheat sheet,
Mhm.
can I get out that little infernal book again and just try to phonetically memorize the true names of the two pit fiends?
Yes. Make a straight intelligence check for me.
Oh yeah, that is a 19, 21.
21. Um did you ever I don't know, maybe this is just me being weird, but in like the 10th or the 11th grade, I decided to memorize hippopotamonstrosis quipedaliophobia, which is the word, which is a phobia for fear of long words. Because I thought it would be funny, and it probably took me like a day or two of like writing and practicing to memorize the word. I imagine it's a little bit like that. Like it's not the sort of name that you can just immediately call to mind or memorize. It is probably around 30 or so syllables in Infernal, and the syllables do not follow like speaking dialect level rules. It's not like vowel, consonant, consonant, vowel. It's just whatever the true name actually is. Um, so I would say with a 21, you get one of the names. And as you commit that one name to memory, the book lets out a hideous scream that just pierces through the entire chamber. And you watch as the page in front of you that of the name that you're memorizing slowly begins to sizzle and shimmer at the same time as the ink burns out of the page and evaporates.
Shit. I do that thing where I like slam it shut and look around like, what was that?
And
Like,
literally everyone is
wasn't
looking
me.
at you.
Shit. Um, look, most of them are going to have forgotten that tomorrow and they won't know what it's about anyway. What's Ori's reaction?
I think she's not knowing that she was gonna like pick up the devil catalog again, just like looking at her like, the screaming book, the book that we know screams. We're opening that up in public, yeah? Okay, good. Great.
I'm just going to put it away looking really sheepish.
Nobody's like run out of the room. We don't need to like
No,
collect anybody from
people are like approaching. Um, oh gosh, what's his name? Paranel comes over and is like, "Is everything okay?" That's the
I
second
thought
time we've heard that scream.
Sorry, I saw a spider the first time and I thought I saw a spider, but it wasn't. It was just dust.
Make a deception check. Gatekeep,
uh,
gaslight, girl boss. Let's go.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
17. He doesn't look entirely convinced, but he's not going to press the issue.
I hate spiders.
He slowly makes his way back over to Quinn and Valnbjorn, who this time cycle really don't like you. um, Edmund, the Dragonborn, comes over to the two of you and sees the rest of them as well. And sorry for butting in. I just couldn't help but notice the three of you, including your friend over there. You're keeping some information from us. And I would just be remiss if it wouldn't behoove you to bring us up to speed on things that are happening. Ethramal and I, we're both adventurers. We've been around. We've seen our fair share of action. Maybe we could help you out. And Ethramal appears to be in the corner stacking, like those little like wooden blocks that you use to make like the cabin. Gosh, what are they called? They're like cabin blocks. No?
Cabin?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
sorry.
Jenga? You can make
Sure.
a cabin out of Jenga.
He's stacking Jenga pieces as high as he can, and you see that he's playing against Hadrian. That's his name? Yeah, Hadrian, to see who can stack a taller pile.
Uh-huh. Sorry, we're just discussing in our little DM free zone chat. There were 3 adventurers, and you've just described 2 of them.
Evelyn was killed just before the last
Yes.
reset. She
Yes,
was
we were just
stabbed.
trying to remember whether Evelyn was their third.
Wait, I thought Evelyn was. Oh no, that is a completely different person because we've been passing over the notes to the old lady. I thought it was the old lady that died, and then we've been talking to an old lady the whole time. Ignore me.
Okay, so before I answer him, can I think back to like the rest of this loop? Have they
Sure.
seemed confused or lost or like grieving or like acting as if anything at all is wrong?
Make a history check. I'll give you advantage because it's been less than a day.
Thank you. That was a natty 1.
That's
That's a 2. What are the odds? Hang on, I do have good history though. Oh no, I don't. It's a 3 total. No, a 4 total. I'm sorry.
4 total.
Yeah.
You have not seen hide nor hair of these two. They don't seem too plussed about the situation. Like, as far as they're concerned, they're adventurers who decided to come out to the hot springs, and now they're told to stay inside of a cave that used to be a sanatorium, or that is a sanatorium. It's not ideal, but warm. There's food.
Okay. And what's the kind of vibe on how long we have left? Maybe an hour?
You've got 2 hours left at this point. This is
Okay.
still like you've just asked Yana and Aery to make your codex.
Yeah, these guys have been good to us. I really don't want to be like Yeah, actually, we're in a time loop, and your good friend is dead. Sorry to break it to you. You're going to forget all this anyway.
Hopefully.
So I am going to try to sort of. I don't know if I want to. Yeah. Yeah, I'll try to blow them off in the way that's kind of like, okay, you got me. Like, I'll let you in on the secret. There is something going on here. We're also adventurers. We only arrived recently. I wish I could tell you more. I will tell you as soon as I can. Uh, for now, it is very important that everybody remains in this hall together. Can you help us keep everyone here? Just keep an eye on the guests, and in a few hours, we'll tell you everything we know.
Of course.
Thank you
I
so
see
much.
that your friend has been keeping watch on that long hallway over there. If you'd like, I could trade off with Ethramal and we could watch so that the three of you can do whatever it is you need to do.
That would be incredibly helpful. Thank you. If anyone approaches, there shouldn't be anyone left out there. So if anybody at all approaches, please let us know.
Can do. Ethramal. And he calls over before heading over to you, Natalie.
I don't trust strangers.
They're not
Pardon.
strangers.
My name
Yeah.
is Ethramal. Sorry, my name is Edmund. This is Ethramal. We're adventurers. We spoke with your companions a little bit about the situation, and while they told us that they can't tell us everything that's going on, it's obvious to us that you three seem to have the best understanding of the situation, and you've been putting in an admirable effort keeping watch. We wanted to offer you a bit of a respite so you could meet up with your adventuring party and try to resolve whatever this situation is. With our own experience as adventurers, we'd be happy to keep watch and apprise you should anyone come close.
In character, don't think she'd accept the help, but I'm getting the strong inclination that I'm meant to be accepting, so I'm gonna go against what she would do anyway.
If you like look
Do
over
what
at
you want to
Oriana
do.
and Eminence, she's gonna have like an eyebrow up, like just do it.
Yeah. Like,
Do
this is someone
whatever
who
you think
can,
you want to
like,
do.
stand on a mountain and just stare for, like, 2-3 days. Like, she does not mind at all sitting here, but we'll take the hint. Just a
Sure.
thank you. I'll go get some food and very clearly not go to the kitchen and just go back to her friends. But that was to
Awesome.
appease them. Don't really
What's the
know
plan, fam?
what that benefits though.
I'd like to check on Thurnav. I know he hasn't come over to say anything's happened, but I'd like to see if he's seen anything that he didn't think was suspicious that I would.
Yeah. He's been keeping watch for about 2 hours at this point, maybe a little more. He he looks comical with his giant form sitting in a regular sized chair. He's just enormous. But he's continuing to stare out into the dark, and he doesn't have dark vision, so he actually did light up a torch, and he is holding it high above his head. And every once in a while, he swaps arms. Nope, I haven't seen anything. Been quiet.
Um, I do have dark vision. Is there anything she's not just like she was 60 feet away last time we noticed her
Yeah.
start to approach. She's not just like lurking on the very edges of my vision and he can't see her, right?
um, she is not immediately visible with
Okay.
your 60 feet of dark vision.
Okay. I'm quite tempted to just shoot off a sacred flame to see if I can light up anything, but I don't want to accidentally hit a tree and start a fire and then have people be like, ah, fire, and go outside.
It's a lot of rock. Less likely to hit a tree.
Sure.
Sacred Flame can only be cast on a target that you can see within range.
Oh.
Maybe you should light a tree up. Just for the fun of it.
Set a tree on fire. No, I don't want to set a tree on fire. People will try and go outside. Look, we've only got like at this stage, what, 1.5, 2 hours left? I think gonna go have like a chat to Natalie and Eminence and maybe just like suggest we settle in and wait for something to happen or not happen.
If we've gone to the side, like away from everyone, which I'm assuming we will, if we're having a chat, I will suggest there is a likelihood that she will just do what she did yesterday and kill herself, which should mean we may have another loop anyway. If our theory is correct and she needs to kill someone, she was willing to kill herself to continue it, which is the current theory we're running with. It's very likely it'll continue anyway. Just a heads up.
True. She was willing to kill herself last time, but I don't think she actually succeeded. She killed Evelyn and she was dying, but I think she was still alive when it reset.
She killed Evelyn after she failed to die.
Yeah,
It was,
she was very
Oriana
willing.
saving her that meant that she didn't die. And she struck out at Evelyn because no one else had died.
Well, I mean, there's not much we can do to stop her. If the loop resets and we don't see any sign of her,
Yeah, that I just thought I'd
at
bring
least
it
that's
up
one problem gone.
as a, added precaution that it could still be another day because she still has herself. So,
Honestly, I had not thought of it that way.
Me either. That is a very good point.
it would be weird though. Like, why would she kill herself to extend it for one more day?
Well, yeah.
Unless, there's someone that she's working with that isn't here.
Well, hopefully it doesn't happen.
Yeah, hopefully. I just don't have a lot of hope in that.
I'm going to suggest that perhaps, Natalie, you be a third over by that door with Edmund and
I do work well in
Ethramol.
threes.
Ethramol. I'll keep Threnov company. Turns out he can't actually see that well in the dark. And Eminence, perhaps if you stay with our code breakers, and as soon as they're finished the codex, grab it off of them so that that doesn't potentially disappear
Sure.
as we do.
I know
And
that
we'll
we're
just-
not concerned with the, how betting direction. We should probably still get someone to watch it, though.
What?
Because there's the third door.
Resident quarters.
Yeah.
I thought the two adventurers were watching a door of those each and they were next to each other. So it would be like, wait, just a sec, I gotta sneeze, I'm sorry.
Chew. Yeah, so it was like basically a giant Y. They were just watching down towards the administration wing because they saw Natalie watching. They don't actually know whether or not there is another entrance or exit there.
Right.
But they have seen you sometimes watch the resident wing and sometimes not.
Okay. I don't know why I pictured like, because it was a Y,
Yeah.
I think I was picturing it the opposite way. So there were like two doors kind of next to each other that eventually become one. And we had Natalie kind of in the middle of those two, not at like the other junction.
No, because that would be
But-
bad then because she should have just gone around the other side.
Yes. I'm not good at picturing things in my head. So if you want to watch the other one, that's a really good idea. I kind of thought they were both being kind of like half watched at this
I
point.
will
Yeah.
MS Paint it with my pen.
Did
Regardless,
not
I think
realize how off my picturing of this was until right now.
I'll probably just take over the admin thing again anyway and just get them to watch the other one. So it still ends up the
Yeah.
same.
I think we can trust them enough, even though we haven't really communicated to them what's going on. I don't think they have any reason to like let someone through without at least making a ruckus. So
Yeah.
I would trust them to watch the door to the area where someone is least likely to come from anyway. I think it's more important to have someone by Aery and Yana so that like worst case scenario, if the ground starts shaking, I can just snatch the stuff they've been working on.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Just making plans.
Also, one of us could die if we stood by a door anyway. So may as well have someone else who has eyes.
I love how cold this time loop is making Natalie. She's like,
I mean,
life has no
I
meaning.
think it's more
Death isn't
like
permanent.
logical, I guess.
So it's kind of like that. So
Yeah.
the entrance is down here on the bottom. It goes up to the top. The kitchen and the larder is like in the back over here, and everyone is just kind of in this central area.
Perfect.
Yeah, okay.
On it.
Wow, we've been here for how many sessions, and it took me that long to draw it. Yikes.
To be fair, it's quite a simple shape that you keep trying to describe to us and we keep failing to understand.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So that's what we do. Oriana by the door, Eminence by the codebreakers, Natalie by the admin door. We're gonna send the other two adventurers to the second door. Everything is covered, and then we're just gonna wait until there's an earthquake that destroys the world again.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Let's get perception checks.
Ooh. Ooh. 18.
10.
14.
14. So the 18, about 5 or so minutes before midnight, Oriana, you see once again from the darkness a figure, short, humanoid, female, just approach to the edge of the light of Threnarv's torch and stop.
How far away does that make her? How far does the torch throw light? It's only like
30 feet bright, 30 feet dim.
okay.
So she's 60 feet away.
She's like, yeah, right at the edges of my vision as well. Fun. Do I have message? Do I have message? I don't think I have message. No, I don't have message that's a cantrip. I'm you know that thing you do when you don't want to not look at something and you're trying to get someone's attention, so you just like reach your arm back and
You're
kind of
like, hey.
I'm kind of gonna like reach backwards and snap my fingers and try and get Eminence's attention. Because at
Eminence,
5
what
minutes
was
to
your
midnight, she should be about to grab the codex anyway, so she should be able to grab it and come over here.
Emmy, what was your perception?
A 14.
14? Yeah, you see this. You're not too far away, and the codex is finished, so you're able to grab it, fold it up, and stick it in your pocket.
Yeah. I'll whisper a quick thank you to the girls and then head over to Oriana. And as soon as I see that figure in the distance, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
We've got 5-ish minutes left. Do we just hope she doesn't approach? Do we want to set up some kind of ward? Do I have some kind of ward? Not really.
I'm trying to think. If she tries to run at us, I suppose I could cast something, but would that not maybe achieve what Natalie was just saying? We'd kill someone. I say we just see what she does.
Wait it out.
I'm gonna wave at her. I got this weird kind of rapport thing going on.
She kind of
Yeah, that's still creepy.
Just gonna watch.
Um, mm, I do have counter spells, so if I see her starting to do anything suspicious looking, that's my plan. I'm pretty sure that's a reaction. So, yeah. So,
So what's the plan, fam?
observe. Do not engage.
Wait until she fucking does something.
Mhm.
Staring contact. Contest. Prolonged eye contact.
Yeah, she just stands there menacingly. Bernarv kind of leans over. So, is this what she did earlier?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can see why you would be disconcerted by that.
Yes. We
Well,
really only need her to stay away, potentially, for 5 more minutes.
by my clock, it's 1 minute and 4 seconds. 1 minute. So, hey, here's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Um, say she stands there for 46 more seconds. We die. Time resets. We all appear back here. And her inside with the rest of us.
We are hoping that if nobody dies, the time loop will be broken. Every other day we've been here, someone has had to die before
Hmm.
the reset.
And
If she does appear in here again with all of us, we will deal with that when we get there.
I guess we'll know in 4
plus,
seconds.
she has been reappearing amongst you every day and doesn't
And
seem to have murdered people
halfway
immediately.
halfway through that sentence, the ground begins to buckle and shake beneath you as the earth begins to jolt and tear itself asunder. Once again, that familiar crimson red glow menaces upward from the dark as you find yourselves plummeting into the churning rock and stone, and you find yourselves dead.
Forever
Hmm.
dead?
Um, and now you once again blink and back to consciousness. Ridden's Dredge, 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Birds calling overhead. Two Kuotoa quickly run past you outside into the bright, sunny afternoon. You hear a sudden murmur of voices that deluges over you from the volume of people nearby. Looking around, the three of you are standing near the entrance with Aery and Pranarv.
I'm gonna run immediately to the little laundry room.
Absolutely. You don't even need to run to the little laundry room. In the middle of the room, standing next to, oh gosh, what's her name? Telvir, is Alexi. Completely
Cool. I will
flat,
literally just tackle her.
placid expression. Yeah,
Immediately gonna
absolutely.
tackle her.
Yeah, make an attack roll for me.
Would be
Wait,
grapple or
just
attack?
just quick. Do both of Natalie's arms work?
Hey, I got a
Yes.
lot of force. I got 2 very
Oh.
strong legs. All right. Fuck. That's a nat 1.
Nat 1?
Yeah.
You sprint forward full speed, getting ready to just tackle into Alexia. And as you do, you see she kind of turns over to the side, looking over her shoulder, not at you, but towards the entrance, and kind of takes a step to lean. And right as she does, that's when you like leap out to tackle, and you just tackle right where she was just standing and completely accidentally miss and skid to the ground right next to her. And Tulvir kind of, um, hello? Are you okay? And tries to help you up. And Alexia looks over at you on the ground with a look of sort of placid surprise.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pretend like she's still the problem and act appropriately towards that until anything proves me
Yeah.
different. I'll get up, I'll grab her shirt, I don't know, something.
Yeah. She looks surprised and a little scared.
Yeah, fair. I'm gonna at least, I don't know, search her for a knife. Like, just
Yeah.
pat her pockets and stuff.
You pat her around, and in her belt loop on her right side, sort of underneath the folds of the shirt, you find the knife.
Cool. I'm putting that in my pocket.
Another fantastic first impression by us.
I will throw her against a wall, like as in like, arm up under the neck.
Like, push her against the wall?
Yes.
Okay.
You've got about 5 seconds.
Awesome. It is at that moment that you are tackled by Perenelle and Volnbjorn.
I will absolutely contest that if possible.
Isn't Vombion a dwarf?
He is.
Will you allow
got a
something?
9.
So I have. I don't know if this is even. So I just want to know if. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the wording here. I have dangerous. No, sorry. Actually, ignore me. Ignore me. Oh wait, is it that? No, what is it called? It's the one where it's like about initiative. What the fuck is it? Oh, okay.
Danger sense. You have advantage on dex saving throws against effects that you can see while not blinded, deafened, or incapacitated.
Feral instinct, though. You have advantage on initiative rolls. If you're surprised, you can act normal. It means nothing. I don't know. Or you can act normally on your first turn if you enter a rage.
You're trying to give yourself advantage.
I
so
want
that
advantage,
these people rushing
yes.
At you. Yeah.
Because I want to rage or use a rage charge to get advantage. That's
so they don't appear to
be.
be trying to enter combat. They're trying to get you to disengage with a patient.
I see that as a combat, but I will roll. It's not a good roll.
So you've got acrobatics or athletics. The athletics for Volnbjorn was 7. The athletics for Perenelle was 21.
Yeah, no. I have, what is that? 5 plus 8, so it's a 13.
Yeah. You kind of press her against the wall, and Volnbjorn comes and tries to tackle you, and you're just like... And then immediately Perenelle comes in and just manages to like sweep behind the knee, and you go down.
Insulting.
And immediately the voices start rising, the accusations coming. Who the hell are you? What are you doing? Why are you attacking this person? What's going on? Tulvir, I was just standing here talking, and then this person ran over. And then a moment later, Akbanok is above you as well, and he doesn't have a particularly affectionate expression. As you are surrounded by these people just peppering you with questions.
In a break between their questions, I will just look to them, and I'm like trying to fight it off, I guess. But did you just not notice that I picked a knife off of her body? A patient had a knife on them and you are not concerned? You're questioning me right now.
Yes,
When she
because
had
you
a
just
knife.
attacked someone that you are someone that we don't know, attacking one of our patients and pinning them to the wall.
A
with
patient who had a
forcible
dangerous
efforts. And
weapon
it is
on them.
not your responsibility to manage these patients. With all
Well,
due
I
respect,
seem to be doing a
you
better
are the
job
threat
than
in
you
this
are.
situation. Oh yes, judge the people who you have no relationship to. Right now, you're trying to gloat and glory your way out of this one. Oh, look, we made a mistake, therefore you're justified in what you did. You just pinned this poor woman to the wall, and Alexia is still just standing there right next to you, like above you, with the placid, flat expression. Do you have any idea what sort of damage you could have done to her, to everyone here, by trying to upset the equilibrium that we've worked so hard to establish?
You haven't worked all that hard, honestly. Your equilibrium is much tipped in an opposite direction. Don't you stress.
With as much respect as I can muster, and it is not a lot.
It doesn't need to be very
Who
respectful, that's
in
fine.
all of the hells do you think you are?
Someone who's trying to help you.
I think you would be much better off not here. Ock, I think our friend would like to go for a walk. And Ock kind of just gives a heavy growl.
Who remembered that they were going to die yesterday?
Like
Herod.
Hawk remembered us in the last loop.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Ock remembered us in last loop.
I don't think he could tell us he remembered, but he was instantly, I think, friendly towards us in a way that we assumed means that he remembered that we saved him.
But he also is kind of like that anyway.
Yeah, maybe he's just variable. Threnov has been remembering us, right?
Yep.
Where's he?
He's at the front watching. He doesn't want to get involved in this situation.
Yeah, honestly,
He's outside with us too. Natalie's the only one that went inside at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we overhear what's happening?
You can see that. Yeah. People are crowding around. There's like a whole hubbub.
I reckon we'd probably, Eminence at least, would move to intervene, kind of see how quickly everyone is turning on Nat, and just sort of glance at Ori like, shit, we... okay, we've already lost the crowd favor with her. Let's not get involved.
I think I've got an idea. And Threnarv will step forward. Hey, everyone. Hey. I can see you've met my cousin here, Natalie. She, bit of the post-tribal PTSD, if you know what I mean. Sorry about that. Sorry. And he just immediately starts pushing through the crowd of people, which is not hard for him because he's enormous, and immediately pushes over to Paranel, Von Bjorn, Quinn, and Ock, who are all surrounding you. And very deliberately tries to insert himself between you, Natalie, and Alexia to create space to sort of disengage. And Paranel, Threnarv, it is an interesting time of you to show up and avail yourself of this conversation. Cousin, you say? A half-orc and a half-giant. Very fortunate family member, I should say, to see the two of you being related. But what on earth do you think letting this person loose here? And Threnarv, sometimes she gets ahead of me. She gets a little too excited. Hey. And he's going to roll a deception check.
Can I at least yell out something along the lines of giants and orc aren't all that far from each other. Not that unlikely.
Yep, absolutely. Um, you holler that out. Paranel says, Threnarv, I don't know what your involvement with this woman is, but she just assaulted Alexia, one of our newer patients. Do you have any idea how much damage she could have caused? Not only to Alexia, but in terms of property. If this had escalated and gotten out of hand, this could have been a serious problem. Threnarv. Oh, yeah, no, I totally understand. If there's anything wrong with, how things are playing out here, I'd be happy to help fix anything that is broken. But if I heard her right, she was saying that Alexia had a knife there. Maybe she was just running in for some self-preservation of the patients. Isn't that right, Natalie?
Yeah, haven't claimed to be doing anything else.
Paranel. Self-preservation via tackling and pinning to the wall. There was malevolence in the way that she looked at Alexia. Intent for some sort of harm. That's certainly not the way to be dealing with this sort of situation. And Valmjorn, yeah, we all know that while Alexia has been very kind to us and mostly stable, this is not the way to deal with any of this. Threnarv says, well, hey, why don't we let Natalie get up and explain herself and her understanding of the situation, hey? And maybe that could get us all. We're all very incensed right now. Maybe if we all get on the same page, that could help. And Paranel is still like keeping you pinned to the ground. Very much like overzealous cop. And now he realizes that other people have smartphones. So he kind of leans back a little bit, but he still keeps like a knee on your chest, on your shoulder, sort of keeping you pinned a little bit, and says, I think this is a perfectly comfortable situation to explain ourselves and get on the same page. So, let's try this again. And Threnarv kind of steps in and, oh yeah, Natalie, what was going on over here? Why did you try to tackle poor Alexia back here?
I think Natalie will just do a huge sigh, especially with the knee on the shoulder, and we'll just like nudge the knee to like a little tiny bit more comfortable spot. Not to like push it off, but like
yeah.
I'm not going to mince words here because I know that this hasn't worked in the past. But we're in the middle of a time loop. And before you jump in and go to say anything brave or special or fun, I'm going to explain to you something Paranel. I keep saying Peneral. I keep mixing it up in my brain. I know for a fact that you are interested in the safety and the well-being of every single person here. And I know for a fact that when I challenged you, you were more than willing to prove who you are and what your position is. I also know that you, Quinn, someone I haven't met before yet, surprise, I know your name. You act here as a doctor. I also know that I walked into this time loop with Threnarv, hence why he's here. It's great. It's wonderful. Also, supposedly we're cousins. It's not that unlikely that giants and orcs know each other. Not that surprising. I also know every single patient in this fucking room because I have done this over and over, and I am asking for an ounce of trust. I understand that you don't trust me right now, but just know Alexia had a fucking knife that I pulled, that I could very well grab at this moment if you were off of my shoulder, and I could procure it for you so that we can all come to a conclusion together. But if you would rather just sit here and distrust me rather than the patient that had a knife that can very seriously inflict harm, go right ahead.
There's like a good heavy silence.
If he is at all like lifted his like in like shock kind of thing, I just want to do it for dramatic effect to like sit up a bit.
Yeah. And you are able to sort of catch him off balance a little bit, and he takes a step back as he disengages from you and steps away. So let's see the knife.
Fine, it's here. I'm gonna pull it from my back pocket.
It's there. It's, again, that sort of mix between shiny and slate gray,
Did it
like the
have like
two
a
blended
sheath or anything?
materials.
Like anything to hold it in?
No.
Okay. If anyone goes to like grab it, I'll be like, don't fucking touch it. Look with your eyes, not your hands. Or
You
you'll
notice
lose
that
them.
the handle is completely reflective, like polished, worked metal. But as it sort of tapers up into the blade, that's where it kind of mixes in with that second material, and adds the sort of dull sheen to it.
Greedy.
So if this is a time loop, right? If this is a time loop, that means the day is repeating, right? Is that what we're to understand on this situation in Threnarv? Oh yeah, the day's gonna keep looping over and over. Um, at 6 o'clock today, right when the sun hits the horizon, there's gonna be a small earthquake. Nothing big, but you'll definitely be able to feel it. Just about everywhere here in the pot. Let's see what else. There's two little fish folk, two Kuotoa. Those guys ran off over. They really like to spend their time over in the spore walls. Oh, you two adventurers, and he points over to Ethramal and Edmund. You two were originally three. There was a third one, Evelyn. I don't know what's going on with her. I think she died and disappeared from. I don't know. It's a whole thing. But you two are going to the Grand Prismatic Spring, yeah? And they kind of look at each other and yes, right. In your bag, uh, you've got a deck of playing cards, and the 7 of hearts is marked. And they kind of look at each other, and immediately Ethramal like digs into his pouch
You
and pulls out
also
the playing
have
cards.
potions of water breathing too, which you wanted to use today, but I don't actually. Does
Oh
that
yeah,
still
that
apply?
was yeah,
I don't know.
that was the thing. They did the whole thing with that earlier. And he flips through the cards and then pulls out the 7 of hearts, which does have a mark on it. And Ethramal is just like, whoa. And Edmund's like, this is a lot to take in. Right, so we're not trying to attack anybody. There's just a whole big old mess of situation here. And we think that Alexia was in danger of harming herself or somebody else, like the last loop, which is why the moment we woke up here, Natalie ran over to attack and disarm Alexia.
Yeah, the time loop begins at like 4:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Might be why whatever
Exactly.
you did this morning is a little hazy.
That's perfect point. And everyone kind of starts like thinking and scratching their head, like, what did I do for breakfast? Yeah. And Thornarv says, I would be happy to explain the situation to everyone here and get us all caught up as long as we take things nice and slow from a good, equal level. Um, Natalie, Oriana, Eminence, y'all want to help catch everyone up, or have you got some business to attend to? We've only got a certain amount of time here.
You're doing a fantastic job.
Oh,
You really
okay.
are.
Oh,
This
okay.
whole time, I'm not taking my eyes off of Alexia.
She initially looks on at the situation with like that usual placid expression, and then over the course of the conversation, at some point, she kind of looks over to the two of you, and she sees Oriana, and she sees you, Eminence, and she kind of pauses a little bit and seems to look at you for a little bit longer before then looking away and re-engaging as much as her like placid nature can.
Mm.
Is there anyone here? Is there anyone not here that should be here? Because we know that there are people around the place who aren't usually here, and we have to go collect them. But of the people that we know that are supposed to be here, is there anybody missing?
Um, I'll tell you what, why don't you make a perception or investigation check for me? And we can say that you did this when the time loop reset, because you know that whenever the time loop happens, everyone is in Ridden's Dredge from the beginning.
God, I love being this character who is not very thinky, thoughty, perception-y. Um, that is a 13 plus 3, so 16.
16, everyone appeared to be there and accounted for. Running through the list of currently alive personnel.
Okay. My bard has a plus 10. Just, just saying. Okay.
17 people in total.
Okay. Okay. That seems correct.
Not including Thrinarv and you three.
Yeah. Yawn, sorry. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, look, basically would just be observing at this point in time because they really are doing a very good job of explaining things and people seem to be, you know, taking it on board and not
Yes,
trying to put anyone in straitjackets. So
watch the dungeon master play with himself by doing a whole bunch of different voices and characters.
hey, Natalie's doing stuff too.
Yeah.
But it does seem to be going pretty well, so I wouldn't want to interfere and fuck it
Yeah.
up.
Honestly, some aggressive, off-putting tiefling strangers are not going to help this situation. Um, yeah, I'm just also kind of watching what's going down.
Yeah, I guess Thrinarv will say, so these three have been working with me to try to solve this situation. Or I should say, I've been working with them. They're doing all the hard work. Um, why don't I explain everything to you and get all of the rest of you caught up while these three get back to solving this here mystery?
I would like to say that there definitely would have been a small smirk in Eminence's direction at who in the nine hells do you think you are?
Yeah.
Just like, you don't want the answer to that question.
As a matter of fact,
Yeah. Um, Paranel is sus, but he is on board with the situation for now. And for the purpose of this time loop, we can say that this took 15 minutes to run over, disarm Alexia, defuse the situation before anyone was hurt or injured. And now the three of you are free. Natalie, you can disengage at this point. Threnarv has inserted himself in the situation to give you the space to disengage.
Yeah, I'm just gonna back against the wall. I don't really know. Wait for everyone to be filled in on everything, I guess.
Oh,
Sure.
does anybody have a look on their face that looks something along the lines of, I feel like I'm gonna die today and I don't know why?
So you did a perception check for the head count. So I would say that was your perception check for this initial part. Let me check my notes.
What if it's a Kuatoa that dies? They just run around going, "Woo!" Like,
They died anyway, don't they?
They've been doing a lot of dying.
yeah, they're just like, fucking like, I guess today's my day, you know? Like,
Into the hole.
Every day.
Actually, that's something that I don't know if I had factored in. If we'd killed Alexia, she wouldn't have been like, and that had been the thing. She wouldn't have been killed by her own knife. Maybe it's the knife that's the thing, and the Alexia killing, not just someone has to die.
yeah, well, that was part of
Alexia
the thought, at least.
Yeah,
Oh.
would have been killed by her own knife
No, but
that
if
time
we
that she
had
tried
killed
to.
her.
Well,
Oh,
we
like,
didn't
just
see
then.
her die,
Yeah.
right?
Sorry, I missed that.
We didn't see her die. You were looking outside
No,
at her directly.
No, when she tried to, like, gut herself, she would have died by her own knife because she had her knife, and that's what she was killing people with.
Mm.
Yeah, but the thing repeated, and we know for a fact she didn't die.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she did kill Evelyn with that knife. So far, all the deaths have been caused by the same weapon, correct?
All right,
No,
you mean like the permanent
she
ones.
killed Evelyn with a knife from Ridden's dredge. This knife
Ooh.
is the one that she retrieved
from the cave,
the
the little
spore
bit.
walls. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Yep.
But there has to be a reason that the Kuatoa keep coming back and Evelyn didn't.
Mm.
Because they die every day, pretty much, unless you intervene.
I've always assumed that the Koatoa coming back is just because they were meant to die. Like, the people who are not coming back are ones where their death is like, I don't know, outside of like what should happen. It's an anomaly that changes every loop. The Koatoa just die every loop. That's kind of what they're meant to do.
I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, our theory about it continuing when someone has to die is maybe not as accurate because no one died.
Yeah. That may not be the thing.
So I don't
It's a
know.
very not Oriana noise to make, but
Melee walks over to you, Natalie, and says, I believe you.
If you tell me that you're about to die. Sorry, I punched my mic and then my phone made a noise.
I'll punch my
Everything
mic.
just happened. I actually don't say anything along those lines to her. I think I would just listen. But I think I understand what's coming next.
I remember.
That's good at least.
She
Glad
kind
someone
of smiles
here
at you.
believes me straight away.
I think you're going to solve it.
I appreciate your faith in me.
Do you want to play tea?
I can make some tea for a tea party.
She kind of looks over, and Yana is next to Aery, looking absolutely horrified by this whole situation. Like she's looking to mom for confirmation, and Yana looks over at you and just kind of shakily says, "Decaf."
It's not actually. When you play tea party with kids, you don't actually put anything in there. It's usually just water.
I don't know what's going on right now.
You've never had a tea party with your child? I thought that's like a rite of passage.
She just like very visibly bites her lip and just grabs Arya's arm, and Arya is just happily working on a crossword puzzle.
Cultural differences, obviously.
Yeah, I love that Natalie's not picking up that the problem here isn't the tea.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah,
I
if you
kind of
could
want
make
to
some
save
tea,
the
that would be really
Kuatoa,
cool.
actually. I won't say that out
You wanna go
loud,
do what?
obviously. I was just saying I would really like to go save those Kuatoa again. I don't care that they're doomed to die. I want to save them. But yes, I will offer tea, but before I do that, the tea, which is just water in a teacup. But before that, I will say to the other two, watch Alexia. I think we should say the Kuatoa. And I'll be like being led off at this point, but you can just follow
Yeah.
me.
You're like 6'6" or something, right?
I'm meant to be very tall. She was meant to be 7 foot, but I never wrote it down.
7 foot tall.
But I didn't want to,
It's
like retcon that, because
yeah. No, it's totally fine. It's Dungeons and Dragons. You can be whatever you want to be with your character. I don't think it's ever been like canon for your character's height.
okay, all right.
So you're like 7 foot tall, muscular half-orc barbarian being led away by the pinky by this 9-year-old human girl.
You don't be mean to kids. It's the rules. Adults, though, very mean to them.
Yeah, she leads you over to like the little plastic tables and chairs and sets up like a tea set for you. And as she is pouring the cups of tea out, someone sits at the seat next to you. You see the half elf Fourth Wind Ashglade.
Mm-hmm.
And he sits down and, is this the table where we reveal intimate truths about each other?
I don't
And Bailey
imagine
says,
I'll
"Yes!"
be. Oh, okay.
And Fourth One says, I remember what happened last time. And also how that day ended. And don't want to do that again.
Can guarantee you it's the same feeling here.
Yes. How long have we been here?
Fuck knows. I mean, stuff knows.
Melee says, fuck knows.
Oh no! I'm really making friends with the parent.
And Yana's like, what? And super quickly, Fourth Wind is like, Duck knows.
Yes, Duck
And
knows
Duck
much.
does know.
Duck looks over. You can see he's already like elbow deep in the bread bag. So, what's the plan this time?
I don't know. Just
Well,
try to
clearly
keep hold of everyone and hope everyone makes it out safe.
I mean, you've got to have been making some sort of progress between these different iterations.
Sure, I mean, we've learned a lot that doesn't seem connected right now, but I don't know. It feels like it's very big. It's very magical. and I am not one for magic.
Hmm.
Unless you happen to be. I don't know.
No, I'm a game tracker.
Ah, right.
I hunt the hills around here. That's about it.
Very useful.
Yeah. I was able to find the people who disappeared.
Yeah. What brought you here anyway?
I was trying to find the people who disappeared.
Just stayed here to, like what we did. We stayed here at midnight and went, what could be the worst that happens? And now we've been here for God knows how long.
No, the tracks were strange around Ridden's Dredge. They continued just fine, and then outside a certain radius of Ridden's Dredge, there was some sort of trigger. They just disappeared. They ended.
They didn't happen to
That was
look kind of like webbed feet at all, did they?
Yeah, no, I saw those over
Yeah.
on the southwestern side of Ridden's Dredge. Yes.
But these were different?
No, these webbed feet. I was going to say, if I had to guess, the Kuotilla that we saw running out of here earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Um,
We think we'd worked that out. I just didn't know if maybe there was something else that maybe you'd found that we hadn't.
Gosh, I hope not. I can take a look around, but maybe I already have.
Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, gallows humor.
Understood.
And Melee says, "To fuck nose," and holds up the
Oh,
ticket.
God. I taught a child to swear. I don't think that she would be open about this, but I do think that Natalie is not overly trusting necessarily of him and is very purposefully trying not to reveal too much.
Oh yeah.
Like, not that she doesn't necessarily trust him in particular. It's more just being vague about things that they've learned and things like that. But even Natalie doesn't fully understand herself anyway, so it's not a huge deal.
Sure. I always thought my biggest problem was the sulfur. Here I am, stuck in a time loop.
Your biggest problem was sulfur? For preservation, or?
Yeah.
Damn,
I mean,
I've done that for a while.
How long have you been here?
Here?
The pot.
Where do you think this is? When do you think this is?
I get the sense that whatever I say is going to be wrong.
Well, whatever I say would be wrong too, but at least we know when we got here.
Sure. I was more referring to the people of the pot and the sulfur.
Right, like
hot
from the springs
obviously.
and stuff. Yeah.
The sulfur, yeah. Sulfur has a neurodegenerative effect on humanoid cognition.
And they built a town over it. Sounds about right.
If you stay here long enough, it makes you simple.
Love that.
That's why there's a sanatorium next to a hot springs. Did that not strike you as a bit odd?
I don't know about magic, and I also don't know about science.
Fair enough. No, no judgment.
I know that sulfur smells bad, and I can use it to preserve my meats. That's about it.
It also can be very nutrient rich, which is what led to the spore walls.
Yeah, I also don't know that I want to eat it though.
Well,
like in
I wouldn't.
Rock form or something. I don't know if it comes in a rock. Ain't about that.
Usually gaseous.
Right, gas. Burrows me knowing science, wanting to make comments. Natalie knowing nothing.
Yeah, no, I always thought I would end up here with most of the other townsfolk at some point or another.
If you knew that that's the effect of it, why would you stay here?
It hasn't affected me.
But you
I
knew
don't know.
that you
I think it's like
potentially
a
would.
lucky genetic thing. I don't know.
But you just said you thought that you would always end up here.
Sorry, yes, I thought that I would succumb to the sulfur and get dumb eventually, but I haven't. And I've been around for 180 years.
You've lived in the pot for 180 years, or you live for 180 years?
In the area. I've been in the area for 180 years.
Right. Okay. And
I mean, I
nothing
live
like
here
this
in
has
town.
happened before?
What, the time loop or the sulfur?
The ending up in a time loop part.
Oh no, that's new.
You also never told me what day.
What day I got here?
Yeah.
It was the. It's like foggy, but I think it was the 8th.
We got in here on the 6th of the... So I'm guessing the month previous? I don't know what months are in this world.
Yeah.
It was a Wednesday.
I think
I don't know.
trying to figure out time in a time loop without a relative frame is fool's errand.
You've been here a while longer than us, then. But, I don't know, potentially not a couple of years different, so that's a good sign at least. But you're saying nothing like this has happened before?
Time bubble? No, nothing like that. Gosh, let me think back. No. There was about 120 years ago, we used to have a problem with fish in the Grand Prismatic Spring. But the challenge was that it seemed to be the same fish.
Like the same type, or just the same fish?
No, the same fish. It was. There was this smaller, sort of about yay big. I don't. You think for a game tracker I would really know fish, but I don't. About yay big, sort of mottled brown color, and it had this like weird chomp out of the bottom of it.
Huh.
It popped up in the Grand Prismatic Spring 4 days in a row. Picked up,
Like it-
removed, thrown away, and disposed. The next morning, there was another one, the exact same.
Interesting. A bit weird.
But
though.
I don't. I know, bit weird, not time loop. But hey,
And that just
Strange.
eventually stopped, though.
As far as I know, I didn't do anything to stop it. Nobody else in town knew.
But no one did anything? They just saw a weird fish and went, that's a weird fish, and thought nothing of it. No judgment.
Yeah.
I just... Curious.
It sounds like there's a little judgment. That's totally okay. There's a lot of weird stuff going on.
I just more meant, you know, sometimes when weird things happen around people, you can get a little complacent, and that's fine. You're just trying to live your life.
Oh no, yeah, that happens all the time here in the pot. But more so that you wake up one morning, there's a dead fish in your pond, so you throw it out. The next morning, you throw out another fish. The third morning, you start to get curious. The fourth morning, it happens again. You start to investigate. Don't find anything. It doesn't happen again.
Odd. Real odd. Yeah, I don't know what that has to do with us, though. You said big chomp, though, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like something took a real distinct bite out of it.
Yeah, right. How big was the fish again? Give me, like, arms, you know, like, we don't have... Yeah?
Yay big.
Yeah. So, and the chomp,
16
like...
inches.
Are we talking, like, dinner plate size, or...
Like aperitif.
Apple what?
Aperitif. Like a Sorry, your expression was perfect.
What's
Like
wrong with my
a
teeth?
small dinner plate.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Odd. I don't know. Could be important. Might not be. Who knows?
Could be. Why not be? Who knows? Not
Anyway,
me.
good to know there's someone at least that's on my side.
Yep. Definitely on your side. Ain't that right, fuck knows? Melee, fuck knows.
um. I don't know. But I do know at least that I will pass on that information to Eminence and Oriana once we have a chance to regroup a little.
That the two menacing ones over by the front.
Yeah, gotta go chat to them. They're friends.
Mm.
Also, will be very helpful if you need anything at any point. I'm not so helpful. I tend to act first and think later. But they tend to have
saw.
their brain screwed on. Yeah.
Mm.
Look, I knew there was a problem, and I
You solved it.
Yeah, I don't know about
Alexia had a
solved.
knife. Yeah. She showed up here a couple of weeks ago. Again, she's been totally like out of it. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that she's spent a really long time here at the pot to be that frazzled. But with a knife like that, who knows what anyone could do?
Yeah. Anything can be a weapon in the hands of the right person. Or the wrong person, should say.
Exactly.
Anyway, gonna go chat to them for a bit. Feel free to continue a little tea party. I will take a small leave of absence.
Absolutely. Milady. And he gives a very large, over the top fake bow, and Melee delights in it.
Not knowing proper etiquette, we'll just go. Milady?
Close enough.
Yep. Alright, I'm going now. um, I'll go speak to the others though. Pull them aside into like probably I guess the residential wing or something. Put them into a room, close the door, while still looking at the door. Turn a finger around.
I'm sorry, but I wouldn't allow you to take us away from Alexia and leave her completely unsupervised.
Good point. I will at least then walk up to you and like point towards a wall, but clearly am talking to you. Like, so it turns out the pot makes people mad.
That explains a lot.
Apparently, sulfur really gets to you, and it eventually turns you soft. I don't really understand that reference, but it seems to be that everyone.
Simple.
Oh, simple. Right. I don't get why anyone want to live near something like that, but apparently everyone just reckons they'll end up here one day, so that's a real morbid thought. Our friend Silver Front. Fuck, I don't remember his name.
Fourth Wind Ashglade.
Where did I get silver? I think it's because I always associate wind as being silver. I've just assumed it's silver.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I think of it as like a light blue.
Yeah. Only because I think like when you put like the elements, blue is water, so wind is like grey. Anyway, not the point. Weird tangent. He's been here for like 180 years. Like he's been alive. Or in the pot area. I don't know if he's been alive that long. Who knows? for 180 years. 120 years ago, some fish kept appearing that had a chomp taken out of it. Same fish, every day for 4 days. That appears to be the only thing of note in 120 years. So, wonderful existence for those who lived here.
I'm sorry, and it was definitely the same fish.
Same
I mean,
fish.
could something have just been eating fish?
An identical fish, supposedly.
120 years ago.
Well, yeah, we saw a big ass creature downstairs. Who's to say it wasn't a kid back then? Don't know why it suddenly stopped eating fish, but
Maybe it
explain
needs something bigger.
after 4 days, though? I just think that's the weird part. Like, why only 4 days?
Well, we know from Aurelian's notes that he was experimenting with this for a long time. We've been presuming he's of a similar lifespan to us and that he hasn't been around for very long, but what if that's not the case? What if he was experimenting a very long time ago and he somehow found his way here?
Maybe. Didn't we find something about someone wanting to, like, extend human life? I don't know if it was human necessarily, but essentially seek immortality.
Yeah,
Right?
that's the letter he was writing to himself about how he could achieve immortality by coming back.
Yeah, that whole weird thing. Fuck does that have to do with some weird ass creature? I don't know.
That's what I don't understand. They don't seem to be connected. But
I mean,
surely, I mean, what are the odds this is a coincidence?
outside of location, potentially. We saw notes from Alston and other places, right? Maybe you just picked this as a good spot, I guess?
Mm.
I don't know, it just seems weird. And none of the notes seem to suggest anything about his experiments while he lived here.
Mm.
Yet was clearly here for a decent amount of time. I don't know. It's all fucking weird. Also, Melee swears now. Wasn't my fault.
I'm not going to say anything, but I'm going to think like, God damn it, that mum is definitely going to wind up blaming me for that because I was hanging out with Melee yesterday and like, who would blame Natalie?
I mean, she doesn't remember, so.
True. Melee just needs to keep her freaking mouth shut.
Don't tell anyone anything. Little kid.
Circling back to something Natalie told us right at the start of the conversation about how sulfur is turning people simple, and that's just something sulfur does. I feel like we mentioned ages ago that the smell of sulfur when we arrived, it's like, smells like home. Ha ha, lol, we're from hell. Would I possibly know whether that is actually a property that sulfur has?
Make a nature or history check for me. And I'll give you advantage on this one.
It is twice this session that as the nat 1 lands, you say, I'll give you advantage. It is so strange. Okay. 12.
Sure. So 12. So, firstly, yes, that is an actual property of sulfur. Secondly, sulfur as a gas is something that is very prominent in hell because of thermal vents under the ground and tectonic shifts, and it's its whole demiplane. It's fucking hell. It does whatever it wants. But the reason that it's not commonly discussed or brought up about in hell is because a huge majority of the population is already dead. They are devils, they are undead, they are bound, and if they are mortals, they don't live in hell. They'll come, they'll visit, they'll do a little business, and then they'll leave. It's the humans that do live in hell do not last very, or sorry, the mortals that do live in hell do not last very long. It is not a hospitable place. Like, there is a reason that for most of your education, you were traveling while you were being brought up.
Fair. Very fair. Okay. Good to know.
So yes, that is an actual property of sulfur. It could theoretically have a long-term effect in hell, but nobody stays there long enough to test it. And the ones that do are taken advantage of by devils. If you're simple in hell, you're not going to last very long.
What do we do?
I don't know what to do with this information.
The sulfur obviously existed before the creature did, at least, if we're assuming that the creature was young when that happened, right?
Well, sulfur is kind of a natural property of hot springs. I don't think it would have anything to do with creature. And I'll kind of explain that, like, I know sulfur can do this. This doesn't sound magical.
So, creature comes 120 years ago and sets up shop. So, clearly, we assume that potentially that creature was responsible for the heat, but obviously, from this new information, maybe it's not, and it's some time control thing. Why would it wait this long to do anything?
And if the creature was controlling time, then why have we found all of these notes and spells? And it seems like someone humanoid or, of that sort of intelligence has been trying to create this time loop. We just don't know why.
We also know that Aery was responsible for opening this time loop, right? We had the origin of the spell was found in his room.
Mm.
So I don't know what knowing more about a creature does, except potentially killing it, but I don't really like just running around killing things.
I think the only person with any more insight into this situation than us is standing against that wall, just watching us.
Well,
And I'm going
I
to
get-
wave at Alexia again. Hate when she does that. Have I said that?
I can imagine. Do you think it's weird? I mean, I know that it's a hot spring, but do you think it's weird that there's the, like, parallel of it being hell that smells like sulfur, and then there's hot springs that smell like sulfur? That seem weird?
Oh, I'm going to look at Oriana.
What, have you found something devilish around here? Or...
No, it's just uncomfortably familiar.
Right.
Yeah, not really a fan of that train of thought.
It could just be a coincidence. We haven't found anything else to suggest that there's any, like, demonic or devilish influence here?
Other than us.
Nope, nothing at all. How about you go talk to Alexia? See what you can find out. You're probably our best bet.
You've definitely got that knife, right?
I hope so.
hate
I'm
that
gonna
knife.
pat my back pocket.
It's not there.
I'm looking for Herod. Well, it would be really ridiculously stupid if I took a knife from Alexia and then
It's in your
everyone
front
stopped
pocket.
watching. It's in my front pocket. Damn, I thought I was gonna be with Herod. I'm disappointed. Apparently I forgot where it was. It's still here.
You did kind of wave it around a little bit.
Yeah.
Very shiny handle.
We don't have anything to look at this more. It's reflective for some reason, and clearly has something to do with that other fucking rock.
Make a history check for me.
I'm gonna know nothing. Okay.
History or straight intelligence, or
Both those -1.
nature.
-1. It's also intelligence based. But yes, that's a solid 6.
6. You swear you've seen this material before.
Yeah, I'm convinced it's the rock. Purely
The rock?
because
The
it
rock.
is fucky wucky, like
Oh yeah.
makes
No,
shit
it's,
happen.
It's
reminds me of
maybe
rock.
not the exact same rock, but it's the same material as the sky rock.
Yeah. Like if it's like, I don't know. It's weird.
Well, should I try to talk to her again?
Go for it.
I'm not
Probably our best
particularly
bet.
keen on getting stabbed this time around. It's very early in the loop, but
I have the knife.
on the same note, she seems to have some kind of fixation with me. Maybe just keep a bit of distance, keep an eye on her. I'll try to talk to her alone.
All right.
Please do intervene if she looks stabby.
I think we all know that I would.
Never doubted you. Yeah, I'm gonna walk back over to Alexia.
She looks at you.
I did say I'd see you tomorrow. Hello again. Aren't we past this? I mean, we've already done this once, and it took a while, and then you dropped the act. Can we just get there already? Nothing to stab yourself with this time, at least.
She just stares at you.
Good chat. I'll leave.
She starts to follow along behind you.
Okay. What do you want? This would be so. You were here, right, when we went through the whole thing where Natalie just told everyone what was happening and it helped. I mean, there was a bit of awkwardness at first, but then we've gotten further with the group now that everyone is sharing information. Whatever you want, you don't want to kill us. If you just share the information, maybe we can help.
She turns away from you and starts walking with purpose outside.
Uh, well, I'm not gonna want to let her get far, but definitely turning to look at the other girls. Like,
Oh, we're like,
Definitely going with.
yeah.
yeah,
but-
following.
Yeah. She gets to the front and glances back to see that you're following. And upon seeing it, she walks outside of Ridden's Dredge and then loops around it. So that instead of walking towards the pot, she's walking away, over towards the west, heading into the sun. And she walks and walks and walks and walks and continues walking as you head across the terrain until finally she stops. Maybe after 20 or so minutes of walking away from the pot. You can still sort of see the lip of the crater that houses the city proper, the sort of pale white vapor rising up as the sulfur comes out of the hot springs in the distance, but you're basically in this sort of open field with the occasional rocks around you. And then she raises a hand and holds it out, and it comes into contact with something and stops. And then she kind of pushes on it a little bit, clearly exerting effort and almost like pushing on a flat screen TV. You can see the color of the rest of the terrain in front of you kind of flexes and warps a little bit. And then it kind of fades in the middle where she's pressing with her hand. And you see something else. You see a room. It's weird. It's not uh, it's not bright. You can sort of just barely make it out. It's dark, but only because of really the contrast between looking out at a field and looking through into this room. You see markings on the wall of this room. Like you're very, very small, and the room is very, very large. And Alexia looks at you and then looks over at Natalie and holds open a palm. Palm up. And that's where we're going to go ahead and end tonight's session.
I ain't giving her shit.
I think she wants us to come with her.
No, she's asking for a
She
palm.
wants the
I'm
knife.
not giving her a fucking knife. We'll die in this time loop because I don't want to give her a knife.
Are we in a bigger pocket dimension? Inside a giant scary room?
Are we not going to get answers until next week because it's the end of the session?
We're definitely not going to get
Bird.
answers.
Uh,
What's happening?
this
Also,
feels very important.
it feels very important. She spoke before. Like, that's the part that gets me the most, is that she has spoken and she's just choosing not to.
It's just to piss you off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really does feel like it is.
Love you guys. The
I'm
mind
so.
of-
This is the part that I'm most curious about. Is that, like, is this the entrance to a room, or are we within something much bigger? And I know we're not going to get answers right now, but that's just the part that I'm freaking out about.
You get to digest that for the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Yay!
Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for joining us for today's stream. This was a lot of fun, as it always is. I'm always excited to play D&D with y'all. Yes, so we'll try to figure out our schedule for next week. I think we'll
I think
get to that when we get to that. Usually we're
We'll work it out.
Oh, is it Valentine's?
It's the
Oh.
13th on the Sunday. Valentine's is on Monday.
Okay.
Also, I don't know about everyone else, but I don't do anything for Valentine's Day.
I don't do Valentine's Day.
The best show of love is to play D&D.
I have been in this relationship for 14 years. I don't do Valentine's Day.
I'm the opposite. I'm chronically single. I don't do Valentine's Day.
Oh my gosh. I don't have any plans. Yes, wonderful. Well, then we'll try to be back for next week. In the meanwhile, I'm D. I have been the Dungeon Master. If you want to find out more about me, my info is down in the doobly-doo below. I just play Dungeons and Dragons and tweet my Wordle result. That's about it. Speaking of which, new Wordle. Real hype.
Do Wordle until Wordle is no longer free.
Yeah.
It's not.
Then
So the New York Times has said that they're not going to make it pay to play.
For now, I saw there was a for now in that.
I think more what they mean by that is that they have not announced that it will not be paid.
I honestly think that they're just going to move it into the New York Times app, and every person that plays it is then in the app, which is going to say, if you would like to access our content, subscribe. But Wordle was free.
I discovered last night there's somebody sent it to me. It's like a Tolkien Wordle.
Yeah. Oh, what was it called? Shiredle or something?
I'm not. Let me find out.
The Rings of Wordle?
Lord of the Wordle.
Lord of the Wordle. Oh boy.
I just made that up. I haven't found it yet.
I feel like I know a lot about Lord of the Rings, but I would still just be terrible at it.
It is. You can't see that. It's Lordle of the Rings.
I could just call it Lordle. That would work.
Okay, let's end this stream.
Probably should. Yeah.
Yes, Eminence. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Nicole. You know nothing about me unless you dox me, bitches.
Challenge made every time.
I am Maleficent. I am all over the internet doing lots and lots of stuff. I'm currently playing through Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is fun. I keep forgetting that Assassin's Creed, because this is my first one, they're not just games where you get to run around being a hot Viking or like a hot Greek person. There's also plot that's, time travel-y. Every time I get one of those scenes, I'm very confused.
Yeah. It used to be part of like this huge multi-game narrative, and then they like fired the writers for the last game, and none of it made any sense at all.
Oh, I've heard that these past 3 games are connected, but I'm just playing the most recent one because I really like Vikings. So
Yeah. I highly recommend Black Flag Pirates.
I like
Pirates.
Maybe I'll
So good.
pirate soon.
Anyways, eating her cat is Natalie.
Yes, my cat is being weird. What are you doing, bud? You're going the. What are you doing? Hi,
This is
BurrowsRed.
Lucas.
This is Lucas. He's being odd. No, that's not good.
Does he do those little head boops when you like boop his
He
forehead?
does mostly. Okay, buddy.
It's my favorite cat thing.
If he's not happy with me. No, you're not happy with me. Yeah, I exist. I played Natalie, half orc barbarian. Who could be half orc, half giant? Who knows?
Could be. Who knows?
I don't know if
I
that's
love
the thing,
how
but
I love how hilariously peeved you are at one guy being racist.
do you know what's funny though? Because I literally have it, like, I think it was even in like I don't know if I sent you a document in the end or just text, but that I have giant written on my sheet as a language because I speak in my, like, with giants near like the place that I grew up. So like specifically it was like my particular like brand of insult being like, you can't possibly be related. I'm like, I know a bunch of giants, you dickhead. Like, don't be rude.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
But yeah, anyway.
What do you do? Where can we find more of you?
Oh, sorry. I do lots of stuff, but mainly you should check out my pre-orders on my Burrows Arts website because I have keychains that are going up. That are up, I should say. And you need to buy them so that I can afford to make them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, yeah, I think that's all of us. Let's. Are we ready to?
We are. We're going to
Hit
go
the
see
old-
Getting Dicey, who is doing some
Preparation.
preparation.
Excited.
All right. Yeah.
And the dudes. If you got them, send them. Send the dudes.
Send Doots.
Doots,
Doot,
doots,
doot,
doots, doots, doots.
Doot,
Or
doot, doot,
ducks.
doot.
Can we send ducks now? Oh, I
Or
can't,
ducks. We
but
could send ducks.
Is there a duck emote?
Yeah,
there
I
is.
don't. I can't find the duck emote in my
If you refresh
emotes.
your page,
It
Mel
might
did
work
add it
out
halfway through the stream.
because I added it like 15 minutes in stream.
Oh my god.
That would explain it though.
Yeah, we have a
Little
duck
duck boy.
now.
We got a duck.
This is my duck. So good.
But yes, join our Discord as well. Good place to be. You get Thursday and D questions as well as getting updates on when we go live and shit. But yeah,
Awesome.
let us leave.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
week.